Fires all bars are qualified.
Message is being broadcast by the Department of Defense of the Republic. At 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, multiple unidentified objects were confirmed to have entered Earth's atmosphere.
Discovery Houston, 20 seconds to LOST drift.
The first message that comes to you is you are a divine being. You matter. You count. You come from realms of unimaginable power and light, and you will return to those realms.
The vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from Forest Tower Studios, all the way from the Deep South. Now, here is your host, Joe Root.
Broadcasting from the great American South, this is Lighting the Void, and I'm your host, Joe Root, and it's good to have you along the ride with us. We're here tonight, Tuesday night, September the 25th, and the moon is still full. This is Lighting the Void at lightingthevoid.com, your show and your voice for verity in this crazy realm of polarity. Our guest tonight on the program is Calvin Parker, who is here to talk about his book where he documented an event that happened to him in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Now, the Pascagoula abduction is a UFO sighting and alien abduction to have occurred in 1973 when co-workers Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker claimed they were abducted by aliens while fishing near Pascagoula, Mississippi. If you'd like to call into the show, the call-in number is 1-800-588-0335, and we are live on a few places, namely the website is lightingthevoid.com, KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM, TalkStream Live, TuneIn, Spreaker, iTunes Radio, Radio Guide FM, Radio Garden, and more by proxy via The Fringe FM. The call to listen line is 701-719-3971. So if for any reason your data goes down, you can always use that line to listen to the show. Thank you all for your support, your donations, for getting things off the wish list. I owe a special thanks to Dennis for that as well. So you guys have really been supporting the show. Thank you so much. The show is brought to you by Audible. You can go get your free Audible book at audibletrial.com/LTV radio, which gives you one free book and one of the Audible originals for free as well. And you'll also get 30-day free trial, and that is at audibletrial.com/LTV radio. You can support the show by grabbing a t-shirt or donating as well. And don't forget to sign up to the newsletter, which is free, by putting your name and email in there as well. I want to thank Eric Markham, my producer and co-owner of the Fringe FM, Jeremy Scott, my program director, and all of you guys that are in the chat rooms over on Spreaker or also on the Discord chat room, which is open 24/7. And the hashtag on Twitter is LTV Radio. On October 11th, in 1973, 19-year-old Calvin Parker and his friend, who is 42-year-old Charles Hickson, were spending what they call a frustrating evening fishing on the Pascagoula River in Mississippi. Now, they both love to fish, and that fishing trip would turn out to be one they would never forget. And the early evening, both men were startled when a strange craft descended and hovered a few feet above the ground and just a few yards from their location. Before they had a chance to run, an opening appeared, and this craft seemed to float, and 3 humanoid creatures came out. Now, they said that they were terrified when the creatures grabbed them and took them aboard the craft. And on the craft, they were subjected to an examination. And at one point, they were so terrified as they believed that they might actually die. Minutes later, they were both deposited back on the riverbank, and the craft departed. Now, his book, Pascagoula, The Close Encounter, My Story by Calvin Parker, is on Amazon and several other outlets. And Mr. Parker, I've been wanting to talk to you about this for a little while now. Thank you so much for coming on Lighting the Void tonight with us.
Oh, you're welcome. I've enjoyed being here talking about it with you.
So this is really exciting for me because I've never, like I told Eric when he told me about the incident, that I'd never seen an incident like this that was from the South. Usually we hear about, like, the Travis Walton incident. Most of the stuff happens out west, and I know the stuff happens in the South, but it just didn't happen. Your case is really compelling. And if you don't mind, I mean, I'm just kind of reading here, so if you could just tell us a little bit about what happened, and go into the details, if you don't mind, sir.
That'd be fine. Well, I moved from Laurel, Mississippi to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I was working in the oil field, and I wanted a job that was a little more settled than that. I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I gave Charles Hickson a call. He was working at a shipyard in Pascagoula to see if he would give me a job and I could come down here and kind of live a normal life. So he did. And the first day at work, this was October 11th, 1973, we got up, went to work, did our paperwork and all, worked all day, and got off around 5 o'clock. And then when we was off work, Charlie said, "Why don't we go fishing?" And I said, "Well," and kind of rest a little bit before we go home, take a shower and eat. And it was hot that day. And when you welding in the belly of a ship or trying to put one together, it's hot. It's hard work. So we did that. We went and got our fishing equipment, went back to a place called the Old Shaw Peters Shipyard, which it used to be a grain elevator there. And they would unspill the grain. They would drop the grain off, and the fish would come up and eat the grain as it would fall off. So when we got to the site, I noticed there was a lot of debris on the ground. The old shipyard was abandoned, and there was a lot of debris and all out on the ground, and we had to really struggle to make our way down to the fishing pier. So when we got to the fishing pier, it took us about 15 minutes from the car to get there. We got set up and ready to fish. And I was sitting there looking across the river in an old Coast Guard ship and thinking to myself, now how could something made out of steel float? But it did. So, that's amazing to me, and still amazes me today. But I noticed some blue lights coming from behind me. Now, I was sitting facing the river, and the lights was coming from behind, and it looked kind of like patrol lights off a patrol car. So when these lights started coming, it got my attention, and I stood up, and I turned around and looked, and all of a sudden, the lights got really, really bright. And, a blinding bright. You couldn't really see for a few minutes. And about that time, Charlie stood up. We was both turned around. We thought it was the law to originally start with, going to come and tell us to move or get off private property, because we were on private property down in an old abandoned shipyard. So when we seen these bright lights, it took just a few minutes to see these figures coming toward us. And it was three figures, and we couldn't really make them out because I was still kind of blind. I don't know about Charlie, but I was still kind of blinded, but they was there quick. Just real fast. And two of them got a hold of Charlie, and one got a hold of myself. And I noticed, but I was thinking about running somewhere, but I knew off to the left was water, and to the right was water, and in front of me was water and debris. So it wasn't nowhere to run. So all we could do, is just let them come get us. But immediately when this thing grabbed me by the arm, I just relaxed. And they figured later on that he must have gave me an injection of some kind. And I did have a mark on my arm when we got to the hospital the next day. They looked at the mark and all. So, but I immediately got relaxed. And this thing levitated us off the ground a couple of foot and floated in toward the craft. And as I was going into the craft, I wanted to look and see if there was any light fixtures or anything like that inside the craft. But all I could see was just walls, and it looked like the light was illuminating out of the walls. Because I was curious what could put out that kind of light, how bright it was. So we immediately kind of made a little left turn and then a little right turn, and they had me into the what I call an examination room, and they laid me on something. Now, I don't know if it was an examination table or maybe I was kind of suspended there or something, but I was on a kind of like a 45-degree angle or a little angle in there, and there's something come out of the ceiling about the size of a deck of cards, and it dropped right down between my eyes, about a foot off from the top of my head, and it went around and it clicked 4 times. So as it got to my ear on my right side, it clicked. Then it got under my head, it clicked, and to my left side, and then it went straight back up into the wall. And I figured that was some kind of examination machine checking us out.
Yeah. Man,
after
what a
this, sir?
That's trippy.
Oh, yeah. So after the clicking, I noticed, or I heard, now I couldn't turn my head one way or another. All I could move was my eyeballs. My body was like it was paralyzed. But after this, I kind of rolled my eyes over and I seen what I would call she looked like a female, or it looked like a female, but it was more humanoid looking than what the big ugly thing was that brought me in. Now this that brought me in, it was kind of stocky, had big strong hands that looked like mittens on their hands, or crab. I called it crab-like hands, and I could tell it moved mechanical. It was, all of it was mechanical, so I figured it was probably a robot of some kind. But this other one looked a lot different, and as she come in the door, this other one kind of backed off to the door and went out. And or I call him the she. Now I'm not for sure if it was a she or not, but it grabbed his fingers and it grabbed me by the mouth. It looked down my throat, run her fingers down my mouth and kind of up toward my nasal cavity. And I was starting to get afraid, and I was wanting to get up and run or grab her by the neck and take her with me, just to prove that something had happened. And she just telepathically told me, because her lips never moved, don't be afraid. We're not going to harm you. So
did you feel better after she said that?
Well, I felt a little better, but it was still scary there. I mean, it's like somebody coming in your house and grabbing you and taking you outside and throwing you in a truck and examining you and bringing you back in. That's still home invasion any way you want to look at it. So it was scary. And when she got through fiddling around with me, pulling on my skin and checking it out, and that's another thing I can't figure out till today. I didn't feel any kind of texture in her hands when she was doing that, or I couldn't, it's just no feeling there whatsoever. So I don't know if there was a temperature change or how her skin felt or anything like that. But when she got through examining me, she made a kind of a clicking in her throat, and the old big ugly one that I called him came back in, and he grabbed me back by the arm again. Now, she just backed up out of the way and kind of disappeared. Now, I don't know if she went into another room or what she did, but this thing, I call it a she, I guess because it looked a little better than a big ugly one. But he got me, took me back out on the riverbank, set me down facing the river. My arms were stretched out. And then I heard Charlie saying, Calvin, you okay, son? And I come to then. That's when I turned around and watched as a craft picked up in the air and left. So, we was I'm guessing we didn't have watches or watch on because of work and all. And you swinging a sledgehammer and everything else all day long. So I never did wear a watch while I was at work, and I still didn't have one on. So I'm assuming I was in there probably 45 minutes, just assuming.
Yeah.
But
did you see, when you were on the ship, did you see Charlie or hear him or anything?
I did not. Now, I figured they probably took him to a separate room. I don't know. But I did roll my eyes and look around to see if I could see him, and I never did see him. But that would have been hard too because I couldn't roll my head. The only thing I could move was my eyes, and I just figured that they might have took him into a separate room somewhere because it looked like there was plenty of room in there to go.
Now, I saw you on Fox News the other night. They did a quick interview with you there, and at first I kind of thought they were just kind of, you know how the news, they kind of like to make things a little extravagant, like almost like they were, making fun of the deal a little bit. But once they heard your story, I could tell it. Once you started talking and they heard your story, the host, his demeanor changed. Like he was really, he believed what you were saying, and he started asking some good questions. I just, I don't know why. I mean, it just seemed like they come out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, they did. And you're right. This is why everybody asked me why I didn't talk about it too much when this happened. But I did. Well, no, I didn't want to talk about it. One thing, I didn't think anybody would believe it. Now, who's going to believe that two old country boys sitting in there fishing got abducted by something? Now, I've never said it was aliens or anything else. I believe it was. I don't think they was from here. But I used to say, I thought it was something that Shipyard might have been experimenting with. And two of them old guys just get out having fun. But, that never came up. The Ingle Shipyard is probably a half a mile from that location. And then we got a Coast Guard station straight across from it, or NOAA. So, who knows what it was? I still don't know to this day where it came from or what it was, but I do know something happened.
Now, did you guys call the cops afterwards?
We did. Now, what we did when this thing set us back out, we sat on the pier. We talked about it. And I told Charlie, I said, Charlie, I don't want nobody to know about this. I'm not involved. Let's not tell nobody. So Charlie said, oh, okay. I said, well, good, because we're not. Then as we made it back to the car, we got up and we left, and we was going back to the car because I figured it was too late to run then. And I noticed on my car, the passenger side, all the windows was shattered out on the passenger side. And that was a brand new little car. And they was just kind of shattered in place. So when we opened the door, it fell out. And that was just that safety glass, that plastic in that safety glass holding it. And I like to never did get the car cranked. It took probably 10, 15 minutes to get it where it would run. So we drove to once we drove to a little store, because there was no cell phones back then, no computers, no way of communicating. The only way you had to communicate was find a payphone and drop a dime in it and call somebody. And Charlie got up, he said, well, I'm going to call Keesler. And Keesler is a local Air Force base in Biloxi, Mississippi. So Charlie called Keesler, and they told him they no longer dealt with any kind of unidentified objects or anything like that, sightings, for him to call the local authorities, which would be the Jackson County Sheriff Department. So Charlie hung up and he called the Jackson County Sheriff Department, and they said, well, you guys stay right there and don't move. I know what they thought. They thought we was drinking. They didn't want us to get in the car and drive off. So we sat right there, and it took them about 10 minutes to get to us. And they come up to the car, and they just looked inside the windows and told me to step out, got Charlie out on the other side. Well, they had me doing a sobriety test to see if I was drinking, like jumping up and down on one foot with my head bent back, touching my nose, counting backwards and things like that. And he got through. He said, well, you're good. And, of course, they asked if they could look in the car, and they just kind of looked in it real quick. And said, would you follow us to the sheriff's department? And I said, I'd be glad to follow you to the sheriff's department. So we followed them over there. And all this time I was thinking, I wish Charlie hadn't never called nobody. It'd have been too easy just to get up and go to work the next morning and forget about this. Because I didn't have no trouble forgetting about it, I would think. But the next morning, when we got to the sheriff's department, they put us in separate rooms and interrogated us. Then they put us in a room together, and they left us in there by ourselves for a little while. And this is where the secret, what they call the secret tape, come in. They let us sit there and talk to each other about it for just a minute. And actually, we didn't talk about too much about the abduction. We just talked about how afraid we was. And I didn't know they was taping us at this time. So when I heard the tape, I didn't hear it up until this year. Yeah, sometime this year. So I had no idea that they even had a tape recorder on us. He said, well, y'all can go on home. So they had already decided we wasn't drinking or on drugs. And we left and went back home. And I remember when I got home, I was worried about being contaminated with something because I had no idea where these were coming from. I told Charlie, I said, we might ought to get checked because we might have some kind of disease or bacteria infection or radiation or something like that. Charlie told me, he said, don't worry about it, son. We'll take care of it. So when we got home, I still worried about it. I went into my room and I pulled all my clothes off and put them in a paper bag and rolled them up, my shoes, my clothes, everything. I went and got in the shower and I poured bleach all over me. There was a gallon of bleach in there. And I just poured it over me and started washing off with bleach. And got through and I took that sack out and I threw it in a dumpster at the apartments. And I wish that was a mistake right there. I wish I had kept it because I had bled some and I think they had bled a little bit. And today's standards, they could have got DNA off of that. But, I didn't keep it. I threw it away. So it was gone. And the next day when we went back to work, when we pulled up, there was cars from everywhere. And I was thinking, I don't remember seeing this many cars here yesterday morning when I got here. But what it was, we went and brassed in. We got to where we was working, and they called us immediately back to the office. And what had happened, the media had got the story, and they couldn't even conduct any kind of business in the office because of the phones ringing and people coming in. And then they wanted us off the yard so that, we wouldn't interfere with the work day there. So that's when the media frenzy kind of started.
Was Charlie upset that the media did he get upset that the media was starting to get involved?
No, he didn't seem to me. It upset me, but, it really never really upset Charlie, I don't think. And I asked the sheriff department, I said, did y'all tell anybody? They said, no, we ain't told nobody. That's not our line of business to be a media broadcaster or anything. The only way that I figured they might have caught on to it, of course, like I say, it was no social media or anything back then, no cell phones. So I figured what they did, they had a scanner and they listened in on the scanner. Everybody and their brother had scanners back in. They'd listen to the police department, the sheriff's department, the fire department. Mm-hmm. And that's got to be the only way they found out if somebody didn't leak the story. But it was many thousands of them calling in. And in the book, you could see, and I didn't realize how big this was. It wasn't only in the United States, it was in other countries and all. Philip Mandel that put the book together with the flying disc, he is the publisher, and he was able to pull these clippings out. And we got clippings from all over the world that's in there to back up just how big this story was. So anyhow, the story was out there, and they come in. So the shipyard had to bring their personal attorney in to handle the media, what they brought him in for. So he set up a press release and made appointments at the hospital and the Keesler to do a radiation check. So the sheriff's department come to the shipyard and picked us up and took us to the local hospital over here and get an examination. Well, they found a place on my arm where I had got injected, and they examined us and decided we was okay to go get our radiation check. So when we got to Keesler, they put us in a car and they drove us probably 15 miles to where Keesler was. And they was all sitting out there in them little radiation suits waiting on us at the deck where they stood. And they did a radiation check. And I heard one of them say, well, they're all clear. And so they pulled their things off, little helmets off and stuff. And somebody said, well, they want to see you inside. And that's where the interview from Keesler came from. So they escorted us into a big room there in Keesler, and they had all military brass, the local authorities. You know, I have to say one thing for them. They did involve the local authorities and all and on the interview. And we sat there and we told what happened, or they interviewed Charlie and I separate, and we told what happened, and kind of together. And they said, well, y'all can go. So that's when I made up my mind. Just as soon as they let me go, I was going back to Laurel, Mississippi, to my home. I wasn't going to stay on the coast. So that's what I did. I went back to, not right then. Right after that, Dr. John Allen Hynek and Harder came down the next day, and they wanted to talk to us and interrogate us.
What were some of the questions that you remember that Dr. Hynek asked you? Do you remember any?
He did. He pretty much did. Just like I said now, we had to go through a little interview. And with him, just like we did for Keesler, and it's pretty much just what we're doing now. He just let us sit down and kind of tell our stories and all. But I didn't want to talk that much, so I just, kept real quiet about everything. And because I didn't want the media to get out. I was engaged to be married the following November, and her daddy was something else. He was pretty well by the book, and I didn't want them to find out. And it pretty much would ruin my life. And still, I hadn't called home yet, and I was wanting to call home. Well, there was no cell phones or anything. So, I was still left there kind of in the code and without calling home or anything.
Did you feel like a lab rat, with all these questions and people wanting to talk to you? And, did you just want to get back to your life, or did you want to get this story out?
No, I wanted to get back to my life. I could care less about getting the story out. I never did want the media attention. So I would just took the bottom road, and I stayed quiet and let Charlie do all the talking, because he knew that I didn't want to talk about this to start with, and I seen it didn't really bother Charlie to sit there and talk about all this. So I just backed up and let him handle the press and do the talking. Him and that attorney the shipyard had, Joe Flamingo at the time, I let them sit back and just do their thing. And when somebody'd ask me something, I'd just say, well, I don't know, or I don't remember, or something like that. Just anything I could do to get the press off my back, because they were doing some hounding. And I figured when I left, when Dr. Hynek and Harder tried to hypnotize me right there in the program, and I think he did hypnotize Charlie. But he tried, and he had to bring me out because it was such a frightening experience, I guess. So he did hypnotize Charlie at this time. And when they got through, I remember Dr. Hynek giving a press release up there, and he said, look, these boys are saying what they feel like it's a truth. If they're putting this on, they should be in Hollywood because they're some of the best actors I've ever seen. I do remember him saying that. But at the time they all said that, I didn't care if anybody believed me or not. Well, I still don't.
Right.
I just wanted to write this book to get it out there. And actually, through the years, the press would aggravate me so bad. And then when you sit down and really get serious about giving them an interview, they would change the whole interview up. So this is the reason I wrote the book. Philip, my wife, had talked to me about writing a book. And I didn't really care about it, and I kept telling her, well, I'm not real educated or anything. If I can find a ghostwriter to do it or something, I will. And I knew the chances of me doing that was zero. So I just tell them that to keep them satisfied. And then Philip come up and said, look, Calvin, he hunted me down, and we talked. We talked the first time, and it was about something else, about something on Charlie's book. And he said, look, he said, I know you don't like the press, and they change your story. If you do this, if you make it your legacy, if you write this down, they can't change your story. Then that's the way that it is. And I got to thinking about it. He's right. So that's the reason I decided to write a book. I said, well, Philip, I'm not really book writing material. I said, I don't have an education. I sure don't know how to spell. I don't know nothing in literature or anything. He said, well, tell it in your own words. Tell it like you want it. I said, well, I'll tell it like I want it. I have a dictionary here. And I said, but I don't want the book changed. I don't want nothing added to it or took away from it. Right. He said, okay. Right. And that's why when it come down to the basics of the book, I put it in my words. And I have to say one thing for Philip. He didn't change nothing, even though he took a little bit of ridicule from it for not proofing it real good. That wasn't Philip's fault. He wanted to proof it, and I just didn't want it proofed. I wanted it just like it was. So,
well, Mr. Parker, when I first heard about your story, I immediately went online and started looking to see if there were any interviews out there. And the first one I saw was by the famous journalist that we all know as Linda Moulton Howe. And I knew from that point that it was going to be a big story. And a lot of people have interviewed you since then. And I know you were talking about, and I just, that you didn't really want to get involved with the media. But before we take our first break, I do want to ask this question. Why are you ready to put out this story now, the way you're doing it now?
I'm the type person, I don't halfway do nothing. When I've worked all through the years and all, when I got a job, I made that job my life, and I worked hard to do it, and I've made good money through my life. Being somebody with not much of an education at all, I've made as much money as engineers and things because I put my whole heart into it. And that's the same way I did this book. When I agreed to do this book with Philip, I said, no, I'm going 100% with this book. I'll help promote it. I'll tell about it because I want this book out there. I want people to know what happened because I've never talked about this story, not to family, not to friends. And I owe this story to the people in Mississippi, especially on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I owe it to them to tell them this story right straight from my mouth and not let them get it from hearsay. And then the reason I decided to go real big with it, when the first press release come out that we did the book, I got hammered all over by the press then. So, my life was an open book, and if it's going to be an open book, I might as well put it out there. And that's the reason I'm going 100% with it. And who would ever figure that it would go on national news? I mean, you got a big news station like Fox News, well, they don't promote books or nothing like that. They do news stories, but they invited me on. I've never seen them promote any kind of book, And they invited me on because I had written this book. And it went national in several national places. The UK, I was on ITV there. It has millions of viewers. And this story's just blowed up. And it's getting bigger and bigger right now.
Right. Well, we're going to take our first network break. We'll be right back with Mr. Calvin Parker. I got to tell you guys, I've interviewed quite a few people about stories and ETs and alien abductions, but this is a first for me, and I'll tell you why. I've grown up around gentlemen like Mr. Parker my entire life, all 36 years living in the South, and he's telling the truth. This is real, folks. We'll be right back.
Lighting the Void Radio.
The truth is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTOK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
From Studio 303, it's the Stranger Than Fiction News for The Fringe FM, bringing light to the stories that surround us. Russian police are investigating the claims of a boy who beheaded himself with a chainsaw after losing to a computer game. According to reports, the 15-year-old went into his yard a week ago Monday before he switched on a chainsaw and sawed off his own head. State-owned Russian television channel NTV reported the teenager from Tomsk region committed suicide after he lost to a computer game. It's unclear what computer game he was playing, but a female source said that the boy spent hours at the computer and it got on his nerves after a period of time. The local office of Russian Investigative Committee gave no further details on the boy's case except to confirm a criminal case had been opened into the incitement to suicide. You could read more of this story at foxnews.com. And a black triangled aircraft spotted above Seattle is a top-secret U.S. Air Force surveillance aircraft, according to UFO conspiracy theorists. A top-secret U.S. military aircraft has been spotted in the skies above Seattle, according to bizarre claims online. A video posted by an account called UFO Disclosure on September 18th shows a triangular UFO speeding across the sky, not far from another aircraft. The clip, which was captioned Triangle UFO or TR-3B, filmed in Seattle, shows what some claim is a U.S. Air Force spy plane. TR-3 planes do not officially exist, but according to conspiracy theorists, they are a class of U.S. surveillance aircraft developed in complete secrecy. You could read more of this interesting story at themirror.co.uk. And German scientists will pay you more than $11,000 if you can prove you have superpowers. Think you can move small objects using only the power of your brain? Can you find water using a simple divining rod, or maybe just transmit thoughts telepathically? If you can prove your superpowers, a group of scientists in Germany would love to reward you with $11,700. The Society for Scientific Investigation of Parasciences is a group of German physicists, biologists, and psychologists who believe that people who claim they have superpowers like telekinesis and telepathy or divining abilities should not be dismissed as mere charlatans, but actually studied and allowed to prove their abilities in a controlled laboratory condition. You could read more of this interesting story with all the details at odditycentral.com. And a Michigan family sees more than just a Bigfoot. A man and his two daughters say they came upon a Bigfoot creature in Michigan. The anonymous man, who is a Michigan resident and asked to omit the actual location, says they were looking for rocks to build a fire pit when the event took place on April 3rd of 2017. Quote, "It was about 7:45 p.m., he explains. There was a light rain. We were coming up over a ridge on the trail, and when we started heading down, a huge Bigfoot ran across the trail in front of us. This is how he reported it to the BFRO. The man says his family saw it well. It was covered in long black hair with a patch of white along its back near its shoulders. He recalls the biped could run with amazing speed and in a forward-leaning position. Its arms almost touched the ground, he said about the 9-foot-tall creature. We could see legs, arms, head, muscles, but not the face. But he says that the strangest part was a wolf was running with it as if they were together. The wolf was like a pet. It was very strange." You can read all the details to this amazing story at cryptozoologynews.com. And now for this edition's Fun Fact. A month that begins on a Sunday will always have a Friday the 13th. And that wraps it up for another edition of the Stranger Than Fiction News right here on The Fringe FM. I'm Vance Nesbitt. Stick around for more Lighting the Void with your host, Joe Roop.
This is Jason Lindgren from Crow 777 Radio, and you can hear us 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday night here on The Fringe FM.
This is Cortana from Shift Happens, telling you to pour a glass and park your ass because you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. Shithead.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Howdy, this is Catalina, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. I'm your host, Joe Roop. We are here with Calvin Parker, who has his new book out about the Pascagoula abduction incident. And before we came into the break, I'd asked Mr. Parker about why he's coming out with this story now, and I will say that I'm actually very, very, very glad that you did, sir, because this is probably, other than the Travis Walton case, probably one of the most, I'm not taking anything away from anybody else's case or anything, but this is probably one of the most convincing cases in my life, and I think it has something to do with, I've been around Southern people my whole life, so I can tell, and you have too, you know, and I can tell when somebody's just kind of giving me an elbow and talking, and I can also tell when somebody's being straight up with me, and I know this story is really important. It's more important than some people think it is. I don't know what you think about it, but I do appreciate you telling it.
Oh, you're mighty welcome. Now, talking about the story, talk about documentation. In the book, Philip has went through great lengths, the publisher, to document everything in this book, like every polygraph test, voice stress test, interview, eyewitness reports. This is one book or one story that if you went to a court of law, I believe it would stand up because of the eyewitness testimonies. And we even have witnesses coming out till now. I mean, just the other day, there's somebody come out and said that they had seen it. while they was driving across. But nobody talks about stuff like this because they don't want the media on them, especially down here. People in the South and live around here are pretty private with their lives. And I can relate to that because I didn't want mine out there either. Very few people want to take it and run with it. So now I had to say one thing for Charlie. He did pick up and run with it, I guess, because he made a lot of conferences and things. He took the upper route and I took the lower route. All I wanted to do was work. And when I get a job and somebody found out who I was and the media found me, started handing me at work, I'd just not show up the next day, or I'd quit and give a notice and move on somewhere else and try to hide. I tried to stay under the radar as all I could. But it got to where just before Katrina, we bought a house and was living down here on the coast. And I was tired of running. I was sick of it, Before this, I wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to work all my life, buy a house, pay for it all my life, and have a car note all my life, and just have a normal life. But it didn't work out that way. So, I just took it with a grain of salt and left it like it was. So
I didn't know it was that bad where you felt like you had to move and duck and hide a lot, man.
I did. I mean, you would be surprised. Even after I bought the house, and I tried not to, like I say, everybody around here tried to hide me. But one of the guys with the Associated Press, I was on the back porch one day talking to some friends, and I seen a school board car go by. Then this guy with Associated Press come by in his little car, and he got out. And he said who he was with, and it really made me mad. It upset me that, he had found me, but I didn't want to make a big scene because he would have made a big deal out of it. And I figured this would press, and he come on the back porch, just walked up there. And so I agreed to do an interview instead of running him off because I said, well, maybe, he'd get his little interview and he'd go on about his business. But he got his interview, and then he kept calling and hounding me, and, I had to put a stop to that. So that's the biggest reason I wanted to come out with a story, is just to get everything out and in the clear. And maybe when all this is over, when I got my 15 minutes of fame and all this is over, then I can go back to my life of being bored again. I love being bored.
Did you ever have any other incidences like afterwards, or did you have any dreams or nightmares, or did anything ever happen to you after that?
Well, what I got is documented again in the book. What happened in 93, I was going to go fishing. So I went to Cat Island to go fish. I got up that morning, my wife fixed me a lunch. And I said, well, I'm going to go fishing today, but I'll be back before dark. So I grabbed my little lunch, jumped on my boat, and I run over toward the island. And I got there, and I remember sitting there, and I was fixing to eat my lunch, and I got it out because I was waiting on a tide change where I could do a little fishing. I was going to fish a couple hours and go back home. So this is probably around 11, 12 o'clock when I got there. And the next thing I knew, I come to, it was 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. My lunch still hadn't been eaten. I had no idea where I was or how long I'd been there. All this time was missing. And that really bothered me more than what the first abduction did. Now, I don't know what happened then, but I knew I had this missing time. I went home. Of course, I was in trouble when I got home for not calling and telling everybody I was, where I was, because I was on the water and everybody was worried. So I had all this missing time. And I had a friend that had come down, and I told him, I said, it bothers me. I got a lot of missing time here, so many hours of missing time. And I don't know what happened, if I passed out, I went to sleep, or I know I didn't get drunk and pass out because I didn't really drank nothing when I was on the water fishing. And he said, well, so I got a good friend that had come over, and he said, well, I know a guy that's wrote a book on missing time, Bud Hopkins, and he's doing a conference in Florida, Tampa, Florida, somewhere around there. He said, let's go. That's just a little ways from here. Let's go to Tampa and let you talk to him. He knows about missing time. So we got in the car and we rode to Tampa. And I said, no, I don't want to go in here and talk to Bud. I don't know Bud, but I don't want to go talk to him. I don't want to be seen in no kind of conference. So he went in there and he told Bud, he said, look, he said, I got Calvin Parker in the car and he wants to see you. Well, Bud automatically, put my name with the story and all. He said, yeah, I want to see you. He said, give me about an hour and a half, and I'll be back at the motel room. Y'all go to my motel and I'll meet y'all there. So we did. And that's when Bud hypnotized me, and a lot of this stuff was coming out. Now, when I heard the transcripts of being hypnotized, I didn't know I was even hypnotized. That was news to me. But Bud had put a post-hypnotic suggestion in my head that I wouldn't remember this until I was able to deal with what I was remembering. So I had mentioned to Philip one day, I said, we was coming up talking about people that was back then that was involved with stuff. And he said, well, I got a good friend, Bud Hopkins, that was really into this. I said, oh, I met Bud. I was in, I met him in Florida, and he hypnotized me. So Philip's eyes lit up. He said, you did? I said, yeah. He said, let me see what I do. Well, Bud was already dead when Dr. David Jacobs had the tape. And I had no idea it was a tape out there. So Dr. Jacobs, but Philip had got a hold of Dr. Jacobs, and Jacobs sent Philip the tape, and Philip transcribed the tape into the book in writing and all. The first I knew that I was hypnotized is when I got the transcripts back from there. And it shocked me. I mean, it literally shocked me that I was even hypnotized. Now, the guy I took with me, he was real educated, smart, and he was in the medical industry. He helped invent medical equipment and all. And I had told him before we went in, look, I want you in there with me because I've been to these shows in Las Vegas where they hypnotize and the whole crowd get up and look stupid and act stupid. And I don't want to do that. I said, don't let it go to that extreme in case I can be hypnotized. He said, don't worry. But Bud wouldn't have done that anyhow, I don't believe, after getting to know him now. But I found out a lot of information on this tape after all. I got it out. And I have the original, or Philip has the original tape that he transcribed it onto a CD, and he mailed it to me. Plus he put transcripts in the book where everybody could read it. But what I didn't do, I don't go ahead and read ahead of what I can remember in the book because I don't want any kind of memories to be put in my head until I remember it on my own. So Linda House, the first one that started, you're speaking about an interview with her.
Yes, sir.
She is the first one that brought one of the memories back in. And she questioned me on some stuff. And then I started remembering it. And it was instant just while I was on the air with her. And I could talk about it. And then when I got off, I was thinking, now where in the world did all that come from? And I went back and I got the book out. I didn't listen to the CD then. I got the book out and I read through it. Every bit of it was in the book. And just like she said it was. So this is helping me. And still I hadn't read the whole transcripts of the whole thing because I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want nothing put in my mind that I don't remember on my own. But it's coming back. It's coming back good.
Well, somebody asked in the chat room, too, in the Spreaker chat room, Lily said, is all this stuff documented in the book? And from what I hear, there's a whole lot of stuff, more details in the book, and That is amazing how the mind can be tapped into, but I'm kind of weary of that stuff too, so I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and, I never have, being from Jones County, from the country, the biggest thing I knew was walking behind a mule with a turning plow. And it wasn't school because I could care less about school, so I really wasn't educated enough on everything. What I knew was hard work, and our local doctors there was from So-So, Mississippi. If you didn't have no money, it didn't matter. You took him a dozen eggs or something like that, and he'd see you. And I remember walking into his building there. His name was Dr. Applewhite, and he had a number 2 wash tub sitting under the ceiling where when it rained, it would rain into that tub. And we'd go see him. He was a good doctor. He kept us alive. But that's the kind of life I knew, so it was a simple life, but it was a good life. And I got all this documented in the book. I started from the day I was born, and I worked it right on in through.
Now, do you have any other family members or friends or anything like that, or anybody that might have lived around you at the time that, pulled you to the side and said, hey, I believe in you. I seen this in the sky. Or usually when somebody talks about this stuff, a few people here and there will come out, but I don't know how the population is around there. It may be desolate.
Well, no, when this happened, I didn't talk about it to my family, period, and I wouldn't allow them to talk about it to me. I just turn around and walk off, and everybody got the hint pretty quick. And I really feel bad about that because they needed to know. Not even my wife. Up until this year, I didn't even talk to my wife about all this. And my friends sure wouldn't. I was sitting out with one of my friends the other day. He said, where have you been, Calvin? I said, well, to be honest, I've been writing a book. So, of course, I think he knew because I think my wife told him. He said, you know what? We've lied to each other a lot about fishing, about hunting, about a lot of things, but you never lied to me about this book because you never talked to me about it. So you're right. I said, now, if you want to know anything about it, go buy the book and read it because I don't, want to tell you about it. So he did. He went and bought the book. He's waiting on me to come over and sign it for him one day. So,
you guys tell each other I caught a big fish the other day. We used to do that stuff all the time.
Yeah. I had a certain group of friends up until here recently. We just had a few of us around. And what we would do, we'd meet up down here on the coast. Everybody's got camps. Most of them live here now. And we'd meet up and we'd all fish together, and we'd meet out on the water on a sandbar and let the family swim. We'd fish, and we'd sit around and have a few little drinks with each other and tell some good lies. But, other than that, that's where it was. We just have good, clean fun with each other. And then during the winter, everybody go back home and hibernate and work. Some of them go deer hunting, and we wouldn't see each other until spring again. And that's just the way our life was down here. We all knew each other, and we was there for each other. For instance, when my house flooded during Katrina, or just right after that again, I didn't have flood insurance on the house at that time. So I had one friend that had the flooring. He owns a big construction company. He had the flooring. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. I had one friend that had the flooring and another friend that had the knowledge to put it in. And they all come over here and help. We ripped the carpet out of the house. We put flooring in. We put tile in. And that's just the way we work down here. And nobody talks about, well, you owe me this or you owe me that. We're friends. We don't owe each other nothing but loyalty and friendship. And that's just the way that it is, and that's the way we look on it. And it's like that, we just like doing for each other. And a true friend, that's what they do. And we watch after each other. We cover for each other. And we talk about each other behind their back sometimes. But we let them know that we're doing it.
Well, we got to take our next break here. What would you say to somebody that, they said, Mr. Parker, this is a very convincing case and everything, but I just don't believe in this stuff. What would you say to somebody that told you that?
Well, them not believing that, they're entitled to their own opinion, and I appreciate that because everybody ain't going to believe. But I tell them, buy the book, read it, keep an open mind. Everything's documented, all kind of documentation in the book. You go buy the book and read it, and then after that, tell me you don't believe. Because if you got any kind of open mind at all, I think you'll believe this. Because it's so well documented.
I believe you, and I hadn't read the book yet, to be honest with you. We got to take our second break, guys. We'll be right back with Mr. Calvin Parker. Don't go anywhere. Be back after these words.
Roger, roll, Discovery.
How you doing today, guys? This is Garrett Lee.
And this is Randy Warner.
We're the hosts of Healers and Hellraisers, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
Hi, this is Sammy. Join us in the Deep South as we're lighting the void with Joe Roop on The Fringe FM.
Live for 3 hours every Saturday night. It's a show that engages the mind, makes you think, and maybe even challenge what you think you know. Hi, I'm Jeremy Scott of Into the Paranormal, where we talk about topics that are anything but mainstream, somewhere between abnormal and paranormal. Bring an open mind and join us for Into the Paranormal, live Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on The Fringe FM.
From birth, we have been conditioned to conform to what is normal, conditioned to adhere to authority, and conditioned to repeat what has been told to us as truth. I'm Ryan Gable, and here at The Secret Teachings Radio, I've interviewed hundreds of great guests and done extensive unique research into subjects that span from the paranormal and the occult to health, philosophy, and history. I personally have no affiliations or agenda, except to use objective critical thinking in my analysis of every subject discussed, to empower myself with information and hopefully allow you to do the same. If you want to join me, tune into the Secret Teachings radio broadcast, airing live Monday through Friday from midnight to 3 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time on the Fringe FM. For more information, you can visit our website at www.thesecretteachings.info or email me at rdgable@yahoo.com.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
We told you weeknights on the Fringe FM are now even better. And we mean it.
Do it live!
Where else can you hear the best shows and the best talent? Kick off your evening with our newest host, Alex Exum, live at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. Hang out with me, Joe Roop, on Lighting the Void at 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern. Ryan Gable expands your mind on the secret teachings at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern. We're bringing the heat every single night. Fire it up, The Fringe FM.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The paranormal radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find us on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get $10 off your first box. As a special bonus, we'll include our #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. Whatever your diet plans are, start with us at faststartdiet.com.
Want to know what's on the Fringe FM? Check out our schedule at thefringe.fm.
Hey Fringe FM listeners, did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to the Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. I'm your host, Joe Roop. Don't forget, this show is here for you Monday through Thursday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. And we are here with Mr. Calvin Parker, author of his new book, My Story, Calvin Parker, The Pascagoula Alien Abduction. And I want to tell you guys real quick that anytime I run across this stuff, Eric reminded me of this in the chat room, but anytime I run across this stuff, I always want to go try to prove these things to my dad, because my dad is a huge skeptic, just like Eric Markham's daddy is. And I showed my dad Calvin Parker's Fox interview. And you know, the first thing that my dad said, Mr. Parker, was, I believe that man. I think he's telling the truth. Now my dad's asking me all kinds of questions like he ain't never asked me before. You believe that? Just, I think it's something, I don't know if it's, I mean, when he looked into your eyes, when you were telling that story on Fox, he knew right away you were telling the truth. And I say that like, you know, people, I know it's kind of hard to hear because people would assume you're telling the truth, but you got to understand too, Mr. Parker, there's a lot of people that in this industry that they kind of just out there doing their own thing, trying to get fame, and they're hurting people that are trying to tell the truth like you are. It kind of hurts the real truth.
And I noticed a lot of that. like I say, this social media thing is all kind of new to me. Matter of fact, I had to get out and go buy a computer. And I got on Facebook, and I swore I'd never do that. And then you get all kind of people that come in and make a few comments, and I can pretty well filter through the ones that's serious and might be telling a little fib or something, or maybe their imagination run wild. I give everybody the benefit of a doubt. And there was this lady from the Sun Herald in here the other day doing an interview. That's a local newspaper here. And she said, how do you feel if somebody don't believe you? I said, I don't care. They believe me or not. It don't matter to me one way or another. Just buy the book and all. And before she left, I think she says, you know, I really believe you. She said, you are so sincere about things. I said, well, I'm not trying to push my opinion on anybody. I'm just trying to tell a story. And that's the way that happened.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but didn't you take a lie detector test or a voice stress test or something like that?
I did. I took a voice stress and polygraph and all that, and passed them all. And whether that happened or not, and I've got the idea. That's like the publisher Philip asked me the other day, or told somebody. They said, "Well, thing about Calvin, he don't care if you believe him or not, and he's telling the truth there. I could care less because I don't believe it sometimes. I had to pinch myself to say, this really happened to me. But when you live through it for 45 years and not talk about it, and then you go public with it and get a chance to talk about it, you just want to talk about it sometimes. But when this little stage is over, when my 15 minutes of fame's over, that'll be the last anybody hears from me, because I'm in the process. I'm going to get a houseboat and I'm going to go out on the river, and that's be the last anybody sees or hears from me. That's just the way I am. And I got, like anybody else, I got an expiration date on my head, and it's getting pretty close. And, when I expired, at least this story's out there and I've told the truth about it, and I can feel pretty good about it myself. And I got the way that I judge people. That's why I got to go see Betty Hill, and I believed her when she told me, because, number one, in the South, back in the 60s, a white woman didn't marry a black man and get out and want to publicize it everywhere. It just didn't happen.
Right.
So I believed her, and I enjoyed spending some time with her and talking about her case. Colonel Marcel summons me. He was on his deathbed, and he lives in another state over from us. And he had a friend look me up while he was on his deathbed. Me and him talked for a pretty good while. Jesse Marcel from the Roswell case. And he told me that was real, what happened to him, that actually happened, that crash and all out there. And I believed him. People like that add a lot of credibility to what's going on. And the older people now are dying out, and that's including me. Charlie's already passed away, and the people from my generation, it's getting their time to leave here. And I've got so much. I'm so lucky to even be alive right now. I've had 2 major open heart surgeries, a stroke. I just can't get around. I come from working hard all my life to getting up in the morning and can't even dress myself hardly. And that's where I'm standing right now.
How old are you now?
I'm 64 years old. I'll be 65 in November.
I mean, you was working in welding and working on did you say you were working on the shipyard?
I started out in the oil field, and I worked in it until Jimmy Carter got elected president. He hollered oil shortage. Everybody started drilling and catching up. Then that just put the economy in a spin. And then I went to work in metalworking and construction. And my last few years, I worked in construction for a friend down here on the coast, where we got to be really good friends and are still friends. But yeah, I worked up until I had that stroke, and that stroke shut me down. I mean, I'd rather have 20 more heart attacks than another stroke.
Well, you sound real good. I know my favorite uncle in the world, Uncle Ted, had a stroke, and after that, he couldn't talk anymore, not real well. And I remember being there with him because I went deer hunting with him when I was a kid, you know.
Yeah.
And when he had his stroke, you know, we saw a deer run out in front of us, and he said he was trying to pick his gun up, and he couldn't, and then he was trying to yell at me to pick my gun up, and then I just missed the thing, and then he was trying I think he was trying to curse at me, but he couldn't. And he got out to zip his jacket up, and his right hand wasn't working, and he wouldn't let me help him, and he smacked my hand away, and I remember tears coming out of his eyes because he was so frustrated about everything, you know, but he never give up.
No, it's frustrating. I laid in bed on my back and stared at the ceiling, couldn't really even feed myself for a while, and I just couldn't give up for some reason. And then my left side is pretty much useless. My left leg and my left arm, I don't know why it affected my left side so much. And then after all that, a couple of years, I thought that I got to where I'd get up. And I never would take therapy. I always figured that, you know, I'd work it out myself. So anyhow, I had a heart attack. On my first one, I was in ICU 21 days because it was so severe. And then when I got out from that heart attack, I had where they had done the incision, it busted open and broke my ribs. Well, I had a leak in one of the valves on my heart that had been repaired, so they had to go back in and do it. I tell you, it's been a real racket trying to stay healthy, but you kind of get over it. You just can't give up. You got to keep going, and that's what I did. I got up and I tried to walk the best I could and exercise the best I could. And on my fishing now, you know, usually I got a friend or my wife will take me fishing, so you know I do pretty good. Life is life. Whatever hand you get dealt in life, you have to accept it and take it for what it is.
Yeah, you got that right. And, you know, even when you put everything on the shelf, when I sneak down there to the Gulf, I may give you a ring so you can teach me how to fish. That'd be cool.
Oh, please do. We have fun. My niece showed up day before yesterday. She wanted to go fishing, and she caught a 60-pound. First time she went out, caught about a 60-pound red drum, and she was so excited. It was all by accident, I think, because she wasn't paying much attention, but it just happened to happen. And she got him in, and matter of fact, I hung him on my Facebook page. So
and this was your niece? Is this the niece that's there with you now?
No,
listening?
It's a different one. It was this is from my wife's brother. Now my wife's sister is down, and she's got her niece and her daughter and her son. And I just love these two to death. They're real smart. They're beautiful kids. This little girl, she's won many pageants, beauty pageants and all. And they're just a lot of fun.
Well, I wanted to ask this stuff because I want people to know, you know, that you're just a regular guy, you know, that you're just a regular guy that worked hard and this happened to you, and you're telling your story, and it's a good story, and it's kind of, to be honest with you, I'm not saying I don't believe anybody else. It's just when you realize that this is really happening, man, I've got all kinds of questions now, you know, because I don't know. Do you ever wonder about that, or do you just let it go? Like, what's really out there? Because I was brought up a Christian, and when things like this happen, it makes me wonder sometimes, if that makes any sense.
I know what you mean, because I went through this myself. Like you, I was brought up in a Baptist church, a Christian, and, you know, I believed in God. I still believe, you know, in God real strong right now. Matter of fact, I've got closer and closer, and but I do wonder. I wonder what's going on and what the big outcome is. But you can't let yourself doubt your religion. You gotta believe, because it's not worth taking the chance. Somebody says, well, why do you believe like that? I said, well, why take the chance of going to hell like you've always been taught?
Better safe than sorry, right?
Right. I'm not taking the chance. I'm still going to believe in the Lord Jesus. And, that's just the way that it is. He's first in my life, my family's second. Then everybody else is right where they fall in, my friends and all.
I understand.
But I'll die in a minute for any of my family, any of my friends. And I'm being sincere about this. When I'm a friend to somebody, that is my family. And I got some of the truest, best friends in the world. And my family, there's never a question about the way that I feel about them. And I really feel bad about not talking to them about all this up until this year. But they've been really good to me. They never wanted to talk about it to me. I guess they wanted to, but they never did.
So they're pretty supportive of you now.
Oh, they're way supportive. Every one of them. We had a big photo op here with them this evening in the house when they got here. I'm doing this book signing, and the lady I'm doing the book signing with made me a big, I want to call it like a poster of the book. It's pretty big. So I gave them a book when they come in. They all autographed it with each one of their names on there and made that to them. And we all stood by this poster and took separate pictures. And it was neat, and the neat thing about me isn't standing by the poster or autographing a book. The neat thing is being with my family that I love and care for. And, I enjoy the children, that's here. We have a good time. And there's some kids, not all, but there's some I just can't stand to be around because their parents don't make a mind or nothing. They just do whatever they want to do. And I don't agree with that. You be somewhere eating or in a public place or something, and they just pop off and say something that they're not supposed to. I know when I was a child coming up, I better walk the line. If I told a lie, my mom would get a bar of soap and wash my mouth out with it, and she'd take a switch and beat me to death with it.
Yeah, go out there and make you pick your own switch.
Oh, yeah. I've done that many a time. She used to get me and my brother, make us go get one. We'd think we was going to use it on us or use it on each other, but she'd swap it out. She might take the one you picked and use it on you this time, or she might take the one you picked and use it on your brother. So one time it was time that we thought that we was going to swap it out. We went and got some real big ones, and by golly, she used them on herself then.
Well, I got some questions coming in the chat room here. I probably need to address. I like talking to you. You're one of the good old boys. I love that. I love that about you. You're good. Thanks. You remind me of my family too. So I get a little bit off track sometimes, but I have a question that I want to ask before we get to the chat room questions. How close was this to a military base? What's the closest military base? Do you know?
Well, now the military, the shipyard that builds battleships and big ships and all, less than a half a mile. But an actual military base, the closest one was Keesler, which is probably 12, 15 miles from there.
And you said other people saw something that day or that night when it happened?
They did, and a lot of people reported it that night. And a lot of people asked why the bridge tenders, which they had a bridge there. Now, it's not a tow bridge, but they had to let it up if the big ship come under. And not too many ships come by late that evening. But they asked, well, why didn't the guy in the bridge seen it? Well, the sheriff's department went back to interview him, and he was sitting in a leather recliner, leaned back with his back to the river. And the ships would call in on a radio, or they went over, and he just let it up. But he was sitting back watching a little TV in there. So, they didn't see much need to even talk to him too much. But they did. But he was asleep when they got there.
Now, some people are asking about how they looked. You said, now you said that they were kind of big. They were bigger and taller, and they had gray skin. I heard you mention something like elephant skin, maybe.
Yeah, both of them was kind of separate. The soldier, the one I call the soldier, or the one that came and picked us up, kind of stocky looking, really didn't have a neck, like his head set down straight on his shoulders. He had a grayish looking skin, kind of the color of an elephant or a manatee, if anybody knows what that's about. And then the more feminine looking one, she had facial features and everything more like, and I don't know why I called it a she, because I'm not for sure it was a she, but it was a smaller, and I guess compared to the other, it was probably smaller, but it was a feminine, more feminine looking one than what the big ugly one was. So, and the skin was kind of gray. Now, I don't know if they had on clothes or what. I know the one that come got me probably didn't. But the one inside the ship, I still have no clue.
And how tall do you think they was?
The
tallest one?
Probably around 4.5, 5 foot tall. The stocky one.
And had black eyes?
No, no. Not that I could tell. I didn't see any facial features. Now, Charlie seen facial features on the one that picked us up and brought us in the ship. I do remember him talking about that. But I didn't see nothing but on the one that was inside the ship doing the examination, had kind of facial features like we do. You know, eyes wasn't much bigger and all. And I figure the lights was so bright in there, they didn't have the big eyes like you would normally see on a regular picture or something. Because here recently, I just got to where I look at pictures of what people call ETs and all. And mine didn't look not too much like them because it didn't have the big eyes or nothing.
Not that big, didn't have the big head either?
No, no. It was, like I say, kind of resembled a human in a way, except for the skin color and all that. And I got to thinking, you know, even humans have different skin colors and textures about their skin.
Yeah.
So, and the ones seem kind of mean and the other ones seem real sweet or nicer. You know, either way you was abducted. But then you get to thinking, humans are the same way. You got some real mean people, you got some easygoing people, and you got some right in the middle. So it's just everybody has different personalities, and I figure they all about the same.
Mr. Parker, do you think that this was just a random event and you just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time? Or do you think that maybe they picked you and Charlie out for a reason?
I tried to think over all this the best I could, and I'm not for sure. I can't really say definite for sure, but I remember back, and this is around the time that President Kennedy was assassinated. I remember my brother and myself used to sleep in the same room because we had a small house, and he woke up screaming one night and said there was a ghost messing with my ear. And I did feel something tugging on my ear and all in there. And I was thinking back to that time, if maybe that wasn't something trying to go on back then. I'm not for sure. And it might have been our imaginations because we was kids. I mean, we was small. So actually, who really knows?
Yeah, I'm thinking the ear, I mean, that's something common. From what I hear, because I've talked to Whitley Strieber and a couple other people that have been on the program about implants. Have anybody ever checked you for anything like that? Maybe they might have left something in you or had a strange mark on you somewhere?
Well, now, when I was in the hospital for my surgery now, if it had been anything in me, they would have found it because they did that, what do they call it? MRI? Yeah, MRI. They did several of them. And they did the whole body and stuff. And they never found nothing in my head. And this was right after I had that stroke also. they did one of them to confirm that it was a stroke and all and how to treat it. So, if there'd been something there, I believe they would have seen it. But who's to say?
Right.
They didn't remove it.
Right, that's true. Well, guys, we only got one more segment here left with Mr. Parker, just a few more minutes left with him, so you want to get your questions in the chat room. I'll even open up the phone lines if you want to call in. That's 1-800-588-0335. That's toll-free from the United States or Canada. We'll be right back after these messages.
To Lighting the Void Radio.
This is Rev Dan Lopez from Spiritual Warrior Today Radio, and you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
Ahoy there, Gigi here.
And I'm Cortana, and we're here to take you on a journey through all things paranormal, metaphysical, mythology, and even psychedelic on our show,
Shift Happens, live every Friday night from 7 to 9 Pacific. That's 9 to 11 Central, right here on the Fringe FM.
And remember, don't feed the Archons, feed ducks instead.
Duck up.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Occult Arcana is a balanced and objective guide to those subjects considered a part of the nature of light and darkness. Addressed in this text is a compilation of material that will provide new perspectives and awaken latent abilities that we all possess. The content herein shall provide magical sustenance for adept and novice alike, and will help strengthen the cornerstone of mystic understanding and alchemical transmutation. If you are interested in this modern grimoire, you can find detailed information and ways to order by visiting www.thesecretteachings.info. Although esoteric and occult studies remain vast, they are rooted within a universal philosophy that is difficult, if not impossible by finite terms, to explain in words. Language places restriction and erects barriers to understandings. By this it is to be understood that there are some things man should consider far too sacred to profane with definition. For these concepts and the manner by which we live our lives, we shall take a note from the Greek philosopher Pythagoras. Quote, "Silence is better than unmeaning words." End quote. To get your autographed copy of Occult Arcana today, simply visit www.thesecretteachings.info. or email The Secret Teachings at rdgable@yahoo.com.
Follow The Fringe FM on Facebook and Twitter at The Fringe FM. Who were the real ancient Egyptians? What is it about ancient Egypt that captivates us all? The critically acclaimed series Magical Egypt is back with all new episodes. Let Chance Gardner and company take you on another adventure through Magical Egypt in the new series Magical Egypt 2. Magical Egypt 2 attempts a forensic reconstruction of the science of the ancients through a study of ancient aesthetics. Also, the best researchers and authors in the field like John Anthony West, Graham Hancock, Laird Scranton, Robert Duval, Lon Duquette, Aaron Cheek, and more join together to explore the topics of the esoteric and the hidden messages of the ancient Egyptians. Just go to magicalegypt.com right now and put in the code word FRINGE and get 10% off any download or order, including the groundbreaking original Magical Egypt series, as well as the new episodes in Magical Egypt 2. Also, check out the great work and the companion series at magicalegypt.com. Click the banner on the Fringe FM or go to magicalegypt.com and use the code word FRINGE and get 10% off your order today while it lasts.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to GetTheTea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. We're live on the Fringe FM. The call-in number is 1-800-588-0335 if you want to call in and ask Mr. Parker any questions, or you can put your questions in the chat room on Spreaker in caps, and I will ask the questions as well. There was something that I notated here when I first started talking to you at the beginning of the show, Mr. Parker. When this craft or ship or whatever it was that showed up, you said the glass was out of your vehicle. Did you hear any type of boom or sound or anything like that before you? No. You didn't hear anything?
No, it was a little zipping noise when it took off. But say my car was actually parked just a few yards away from this vehicle, back behind us, kind of parallel with it. And the passenger side was the side facing the ship. So I figured maybe the vibration or something off of the craft might have done it. It's hard to know what. And that was a brand new little car back then. And I was wondering why the glass just shattered and stayed in place. And someone told me, well, that's safety glass. They got that fixed like that, so if you have a wreck or something, it don't get knocked out and run through you and stick in you.
At what point did you actually become afraid? I mean, at what point did you know, okay, this ain't the law, this is something totally different? And at what point did you become scared?
When I turned around and seen the bright lights, before it was just blue hazy lights coming across their back and going toward the water. But this craft was sitting on land behind us. And when we seen them and turned around and looked and the bright lights just suddenly appeared, it scared me. I didn't know what was happening. And it all happened so fast, it was hard to get scared then, too afraid like that. But I was scared the whole time. And after it left, I was still kind of shaking a little bit out there on the pier. But I knew it was over and we'd lived through it. And, that's why we sat down on the pier and talked about it for a few minutes. And we didn't talk long, though. I think Charlie was as ready as I was to get away from there.
And Charlie, was he a big fella, or was he a smaller guy?
No, Charlie was actually a smaller guy, but he was older than I was, and everybody thought we was good friends and all, and actually we weren't, because Charlie was a good deal older than I was, and I was just raised with his kids were more friends of mine than he was. And, we was all raised together. Now, Charlie was good friends of my father. And Charlie was fought in North Korea in the war and all. So, he had a different level of fear than what I did. I mean, things didn't upset him like it would have me being younger and all.
Did you guys try to jerk away from him at all or fight back?
No, you couldn't fight. I couldn't. I can't speak for Charlie because actually I've never talked about this with Charlie. He's got a book out and I never read the book because it really didn't interest me knowing about it because I lived through it. But from the time they got my arm and all, you couldn't resist. It was just like they put you in a trance or give you a tranquilizer.
Oh, okay.
So no, sir, you couldn't fight back or nothing.
So they didn't inject you with anything, hit you with any kind of weapon or nothing. You just felt like you was in some type of weird trance state when they had you.
Well, when I went to the hospital, there was a puncture mark on my arm that they found, and they figured that was some kind of injection site where they might have injected me with something. Now, later on in the book, and through the hypnosis session, and I'm just starting to remember all that, or remembered it. And like I say, Linda Howe brought all that up also when she did her interview because she had read it in the book. But now that I remember all that going on, we actually got in a physical confrontation with one of them, the more female-looking deal, because she had run her finger down through my mouth and coming up through my nasal cavity, and I figured it was trying to get an implant in or out or something. Now, this is just me thinking right then. I don't know for sure. But my nose bled so bad. But my nose has always bled from the time I was a kid coming up. Every now and then I just have frequent nosebleeds. And I remember us riding down the road in a car, and as a child, and my nose just started bleeding. So it's hard to say. All this is just kind of new to me, trying to remember it and all. And it's just hard to say what happened. Like I said, one time I thought it might have been some kind of experimental craft they was experimenting with at the shipyard. But I found out later it wasn't because they didn't have nothing like that.
I wanted to ask you about when you said that the ship flew off. I mean, when it flew off, did it fly off like a normal aircraft, or did it just zip out, or what did it do?
Oh, it more or less zipped out. What it did, it just picked up off the ground a little bit, and it looked like if you're just looking up through the sky, you heard a little zipping noise, and it looked like a ball of lightning going through the sky. That was just that fast. So, I've never seen nothing that fast in my life. You'd think it would do like a helicopter, pick up and just take off, but it didn't. I mean, it was quick.
If we were to, like, if I was riding down the road and I was looking out the window and one of these things was moving at that rate that you saw it move at, do you think I would even notice it?
Probably not. You'd probably think it was a shooting star. And I catch myself at night. I walk out here on my back steps, and I got a chair that I sat in back there, and I look up at the sky just to see what I could see. There's an airport not too far from us, and you see planes coming in there all the time. But when I'm fishing out on my boat, I get far enough away that there's no airports right around, and I sit there and look up in the sky to see what I can see. And I've actually never seen nothing like that because I'm trying to find something to compare it to.
You never seen the shape of it either? I mean, what was the shape of it? Do you remember?
It was like a football. I think that's how I described it when I first see it. And that's still the best description that I could give of it. Kind of shaped like a football in a way. Now, the closest thing I ever seen to it, I was out fishing one day, my wife and I have a pontoon boat, and I said, I'm going to take a nap. And I laid down on the seat, and I was going to take a little nap. And my eyes opened. There was something big and silver over the top of us, and it scared the living Jesus out of me. And come to find out, it was a Goodyear blimp sitting there over us. And now that's scary just to look up at. But that's the closest I've ever come to seeing anything else.
It made you think it was another ship there for a second.
It did, because it was right on top of us. And that put me to thinking about it then. It was bad enough that we didn't have no idea it was there because it was quite this blimp. Because I guess they just run on some kind of, I don't know how they run, to be honest with you.
It wasn't making any noise?
It didn't make a bit of noise. It was just kind of hovering above us a little bit. And we sat there and watched it when it left. And it gave me the heebie-jeebies, so I said, well, we're getting out of here right now. And I didn't tell her why, but, it kind of gave me like a flashback of maybe them coming back or something. Yeah. And I just wasn't comfortable staying around then. And anybody can be, say they're brave and all that, and they wouldn't bother them, wouldn't scare them. Well, yeah, it will. I don't care who you are, it'll scare you, especially if something like this really happened. I don't tend to be brave. I'm not afraid of too much. I'm not even afraid of dying, but, I've come to accept that term. But this bothers me, being abducted and somebody getting you against your will and taking you aboard something. And this what this was. It was an invasion. And 18 years old.
Yeah, you were pretty young.
Yeah, that's still just a child. Nowadays, and I've heard people say, well, I wish one would come get me. Somebody said that the other day. Well, I'll tell you who it was. It was when I was on the Fox News, that interview with Waters World. He said, well, if you see them, tell them to come back to see me. And I thought, yeah. I said, I'll be glad to. I hope they do. And that's kind of the way we ended the show.
Because you don't want nothing to do with them, huh?
I don't want a thing to do with them. Now, I hope that was the last time I get to visit with them. And somebody says, well, they all good. But I'm not just real sure about that. I don't know if they all good or not. All people's not good. It's like we have some evil people here in this world and had some. Look at Hitler and all them people. I mean, so you can't compare them like you do humans. I mean, it's got to be good and it's got to be bad and everything. And I feel like what we are is an experiment. Like we used to experiment with animals, they probably experiment with us. Now, I don't agree with that. I hate to see any kind of animal mistreated because here lately I've learned animals have feelings just like humans do. I got this little puppy here, and I mean, it just starves for attention, and you can hurt his little feelings and say something or scold him a little bit. And I never thought about that up until here lately. But animals do have feelings just like humans, and it's not right to experiment with them or anything. So
I'm with you on that one totally. Yeah, we've talked about that quite a bit on this show, and I'm not a fan of anybody that hurts animals. Now, did anybody else other than Dr. Hynek, anybody come ask you any questions that look suspicious? You know how you hear about this Men in Black or government agents. Anybody call you that didn't make sense or anything like that?
No, nobody did back then. Now, I got the EBGBs here the other day. I just felt like, since his books come out and all, I felt like somebody's been watching. Now, this is probably just me. It's probably nothing to it. But I told Philip, my producer, the guy that did the book, I said, I got a feeling somebody's watching me. Now, it might be the media or something going through my mail, and I find the garbage cans open and trash pulled out. But it could be one of them big coons pulling it out. But if so, they're getting papers out, personal papers and stuff. So I started shredding everything and getting rid of them. So I just really felt like, people's watching now. It might be the media, like I say, or it could be the government. Who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think the government would probably go public at this time. This is 45 years later.
Well, in December of 2017, they came out and said that they had I guess some type of sect that was studying it, but they shut it down. But I still don't believe them. I think there's more to it than that. I think they just kind of give us a little cookie and let us go on it. But they did kind of admit it, but not enough, if you ask me.
Well, it's no doubt in my mind nowadays in time that they got their hand in a little bit of everything. They got that NSA. They probably listening in right now on your computer Skypes and things like that going on, and phone conversations. And they can if they want to. There's nothing to stop them. And they say they need a warrant, but who's to say that they're going to get a warrant? They do about what they want to. And I think that's bad because, it gives everybody such a bad name. They ought to just put it out there and get rid of it. I mean, like back a long time ago, I don't know, you remember Orson Welles' War of the Planets or something like that? And it was a big fear on the radio. I mean, he had everybody scared to death. And everybody panicked and it was fake. But he put this out live on the radio, telling about us being invasion.
Yeah,
and it scared older people. But nowadays, people are ready for it. I mean, they can handle it. If we're being looked at and checked on, they need to put it out there and let the American people know. I do know Trump's got his space program going on now, or trying to. So
does make you wonder, doesn't it?
It does. It wonders what's going on. It wonders maybe we need protection from outer space. But if they can come and go like that, there's no way to protect us anyhow. Might as well just stick our head between our legs and go with it. I remember.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I remember doing these atomic bomb drills when I was in school, because of Cuba and all that, the Cuban Missile Crisis and stuff. And they'd get you under the desk. Now, it don't do a heck of a lot of good if they drop a bomb on you, get under the desk.
Oh, it don't. Now, I forgot to ask you this. Did these beings, did they talk at all? Did they make any kind of noise? Did they seem to communicate in any fashion?
No, just telepathically with me. Now, when they was on the ship, I do think they communicated with each other somehow. because they was kind of like a mumbling noise that one of them made, and the other one would react when this mumbling kind of went on. And it's hard to describe the noise that they made, but they made it toward each other. You could tell it was meant for each other. But other than that, no, there wasn't no communication going on.
I'm trying to find, where's the best place that somebody can find your book? The way I found it was I just went on Amazon and typed in Calvin Parker and the book came up. But is there another website or something that you got, or is that the easiest way to find it?
The best way to find it is through Amazon. Go into where it says books, Pascagoula, the closest encounter, my story, Calvin Parker. But you can put my name in there anywhere and it usually pops up. And then the only other place I know that's going to sell them, and they ordered a lot, they're going to have a book signing here in Pascagoula, October the 11th. And they're going to sell some books there and get them signed. So, that would be the next place to get one if you're in person down here. But now I did hear the other day that some of the libraries in Seattle, Washington was carrying the book. Somebody wanted to check one out of the library. But the only place I know to buy them is through Amazon.
You ever think maybe one day somebody's going to do an audio book out of it too?
We've signed the rights to an audio book the other day. So it definitely is coming out because of the rights, the contract's been made, and we signed the rights for our audio book. And you can go to the website, Philip Mantle's website, the Flying Disc, and look in that, and it's got all this information in there, where to get the book, about the audio books, the contracts we got out now. It's a lot of stuff happening, and it's happening real fast. This has actually moved faster than what I ever thought it would. I've never figured it would be this much interest in any kind of story. So,
yeah, well, it's a big deal to all of us, especially my audience, because this show's, we don't say, well, this is the ultimate show for truth, but we're definitely seeking it. And like I said before, Mr. Parker, I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm not trying to put anybody else down or anything like that, but when I hear a story like yours, I really believe it. To me, your story is just as good and compelling as the Travis Walton story, and it lets me know that this is really happening, which is a reminder that we don't know what's going on, but there is something strange going on, and it's awful brave of you to even talk about it, actually. I don't know if you know that, but it really is.
I've never even thought about it like that. Now, what I tried to do in the book, and what people's telling me they like, is they said when they go to the book and start reading it, it's just like them sitting there in the same room with me listening to it. I didn't try to get fancy in the book. I didn't try to use proper language. I just told it my words, just like we sitting in my living room talking about it. And people like that. They don't like a lot of educated people telling them what to believe and what not to believe. And somebody said, well, do you believe in UFOs? I said, no, I believe in God, but I sure do believe that there's other lives out there on other planets, that God just didn't put us down here, by ourselves. Said, look up at the stars. Every star's got a planet around it. And some of them planets probably got life on it of some kind.
I think so, Mr. Parker.
And then I think they might travel interdimensional, because I've been sitting in the house sometime and think you seen something just out of the glance of your eye walk by. But I don't know. It could be spirits or ghosts or aliens. I don't know what it is. There's something there.
Well, I want to say I really appreciate you coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And everybody that's listening to this show, this is one of the best cases out there. You need to grab the book. And if you're in the Pascagoula area, definitely go check that out and get the book signed. And Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, sir.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Anytime. And we'll be right back, guys, on hour 3. I'm going to do a little news recap, also a little recap about some gun issues we had. But that was Calvin Parker. Go check out the book, The Pascagoula Alien Abduction. It's my story. If you just search Calvin Parker on Google, especially Amazon, you'll find it. And I've also put the links into the chat room. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Hey, Fringe FM listeners. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of The Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to The Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio. If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com. Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
How you doing today, guys? This is Garrett Lee.
And this is Randy Warner.
From the Healers and Hellraisers podcast.
A podcast about people.
You're going to hear stories from the enlightening to the frightening.
Told by those who lived it.
Listen right here on the Fringe FM.
Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And on the Fringe Free-For-All, right here on the Fringe FM. Follow the Fringe FM on Facebook and Twitter at the Fringe FM. The Fringe FM loves hearing from you. Have a suggestion, comment, or question? We're all ears. Email talkback@thefringe.fm.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. Very interesting conversation with Mr. Calvin Parker. I want to say real quick, I usually don't do these this birthday thing unless I'm a fan of whoever's birthday is. And it's Will Smith's birthday. He turned 50. And so did Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is 67 years old. I did not know he was that old. Then you got Michael Douglas is 74. I knew he was old. Heather Locklear is 57. Catherine Zeta-Jones is 49. Donald Glover is 35. I was going to say, I know Danny Glover's a lot older than that. I'm here with Eric Markham, who, by the way, turned me on to the Calvin Parker case and is here with us in the virtual shack. What's up, Eric?
Hey, glad to be here.
So what'd you think about that, man? Was it everything you dreamed about? Because I think it was for me.
Oh, I was delighted. I mean, when he was making the tours in the late night programs back in the 70s, had a very strict bedtime, and I begged, I was into ET and stuff like that back then. I begged my parents to let me stay up for that, and they sent me to bed anyway. But Dad, with his sadistic glee, told me all about it the next morning. My dad's a real hardcore skeptic about that kind of stuff, and he said when they put the Calvin under hypnosis and he started to just have a meltdown, Dad said, I ain't sure if he really encountered those things, but he sure thinks, I believe he believes it. So,
how long ago was that? Did you watch that on TV?
I think that must have been 75, 76. I was probably around 10, 11 years old. Like I said, I had a real strict bedtime, so that was before my Aunt Julie gave me her old black and white TV, so I never saw it. I just heard about it. Everybody else got to stay up and watch it but me, apparently.
Yeah, I showed my dad the Fox News interview, and he's like, I don't want, he's a left-wing guy, right? He's like, I don't want to watch Fox News. I said, no, hold on. This is the gentleman I'm talking to. I want you to watch it. And, when they started showing the Men in Black video, it's almost kind of like they were doing the whole entertainment thing, like they were going to make fun of it a little bit. And then when Mr. Parker started talking, you could tell their demeanor changed. Like, they hadn't heard a story as compelling as his.
Well, I think he's one of the most believable ones. He has always struck me as, I've followed him for a while because I was always more interested in his story than in Travis Walton's. No disrespect to Travis, but I grew up around those kind of people, that salt of the earth, hardworking, Southern people. There were a lot of transplants where I lived, grew up, and they just don't have I just don't feel like they have the capacity or the need to come up with some kind of BS like that.
No.
So I always took Calvin at his word. I always thought he was one of the most fascinating, and then he went off the radar for 30 years or more. I'm just glad he finally got out and put his story out there. Now we have it more or less straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear they're going to get it on the audio book too. But I'm probably going to get that's one of those books you're going to kind of like Fire in the Sky. I probably have to have the physical book, just to have it. And I'm not like this is the whole thing with me and all of these ET stories and interdimensional stuff. When I hear all of this stuff, man, and I'm telling you, I get like, God, man, really? Come on. Like in the back of my mind, it's just like, this is so gaga and woo-woo. And then bam, this comes out, right? Calvin Parker's story or Betty and Barney Hill or Travis. And it brings me back around to knowing like, okay, something's really going on here. And this is the problem I have with all this, all the people out there that are actually, I guess you could say faking it or faking the funk or whatever, like Next calls it, because it does a lot of disservice to the people that are telling real stories. And, I don't know if you could prove Calvin's case in a court, but I will say on the record right now that I believe him 100%.
I do too. The man the money he made by hard work, like he was saying. He didn't really benefit from his story. He didn't even want it to come out. So I just don't feel like he had a dog in the fight, so to speak. I think he'd have been perfectly happy to go on about his life and never think about it again, but he kept getting drug out. And I don't know, that man, he could tell me
You think it's a Southern thing or something, maybe? I don't know.
I think so. A lot of people talk about, we're becoming more multicultural in this country, so you don't immediately lose 40 IQ points if you have a Southern accent like it used to be back in the day. But I've been living in the South most of my life, and for the most part, the rural Southern people, or the people like you would put Calvin in with, they're going to lie. They'll tell a tall tale, like he was saying,
about
they'll tell a tall
stuff
tale
like,
about the deer or harmless crap. But when it comes to something like that, I just don't think it's in their makeup to lie about something like that. He's very religious, obviously, and, lying is a sin. I don't think he would take his chance with pissing off the good Lord by making up a story about this.
I can tell you straight up, and I told him, and if we ever go out there, I am going to give him a call. I'm going to go out there and have him, because I've never been deep sea fishing. I want to go, I really do. And he knows all the tricks. He knows all the good stuff about it. But, someone brought up in the Facebook group, or I think it was just on my Facebook page, about they called them squidbillies. And, I'm Southern, so I tend to defend Southern folk a little bit, and especially people like Mr. Parker. But I will say that there are things that happen in the South that, like, for instance, Texas, this incident that happened September the 1st, where these guy got killed over trash. These guys got in an argument about a dumpster. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, they got in a fight over the dumpster, and one of them got killed. I thought, what?
Now, just in case,
what a horrible waste.
Yeah, it was stupid, okay? But for all of you people that are anti-gun, I'm going to make a point. Now, just in case you haven't heard this clip, I'm going to play this clip, and it might bother some of you, so if it's going to get a little graphic, I'm just warning you, okay? But I'm going to play this clip so you know what happened. Now, this was in I believe, what part of Texas was this? This is in Abilene, Texas, where these gentlemen, a father and a son, got in an argument with a man because this man was putting a mattress out by a dumpster, and he was putting it out there, and they went, I guess, this could be just hearsay, but I guess either these people thought they owned the dumpster, or they did own the dumpster, and they removed the mattress, and he went back out there and put it back. And so it ended up getting super polar, and it ended up getting, and you know what happens when you're getting arguments, it ended up getting really bad. Now I'm going to play this clip. I'm just warning you, this really happened, so just be prepared, okay?
Hey, did you hear him say he's going to kill me?
Yes.
I'm at the dumpster. Put the gun up and go inside.
You pulled a gun in front of our children.
In front of my kids. Point at me. Take these swings. I'm standing my ground. I will kill you dead. I promise you you're both dead.
It is an alley.
You're in an alley. I'm going to kill you. I doubt it.
First of all, if you're going to show this video to the cops, you might want to stop yelling.
Oh, no. I don't give a back off. You pull that gun one more time, before I'll tell you I'll put a bullet through your head. No, you won't. Bet. Point it at me. Take a swing. Point it at me. Go ahead. Point it at me. Take your swing. Point it at me. Back off. Point it at me again. Back off. Point it at me again. Back off. You're a dead man. I doubt it. If you come within 3 foot of me, I'm going to kill you. Okay.
You're not going to shoot my husband.
Come on. Shoot me. You're dead. Point it. Point it.
Dead. Somebody else is facing life in prison. And
this is all over a mattress. They killed that man over a mattress.
Good God.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. I guess a commercial cut in or something there. But, yeah, they killed that man over a mattress, man.
I mean, my God. There was no... I just... God.
But that's not what ensued. What ensued was and everybody's trying to justify this guy killing him. Now, look, both of these guys, in my opinion, they both had a right to say what they wanted to say, to scream and whatever they wanted. Because I know this happened on September the 1st. And so people wanted to, it's one of these big gun deals, and the media is getting involved, and that whole polar gun argument that's happened. Now, here's the thing: the man told him. I mean, if it were me, I would have just walked away. I'm not going to kill somebody over a mattress, but pride ensued. And the older man was standing in front of him. His son was standing to the back and left of him with a shotgun. And this other guy that they were telling to back off is about 6 foot something tall. He's really big, right? And instead of them leaving, he just kept saying, well, if you come and, you get near me, 3 foot, whatever, if you come in my space, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to kill you. Now, I think the law in Texas states that you can shoot somebody until you know that there's no more threat. Now, here's where things get a little sticky. That first shot you heard was the father shooting him with a pistol. And I think he shot him a couple times because the guy got in his vicinity or whatever. But the second shot, the last two shots was with a shotgun, right? It was his son pulling the trigger on him a couple times with a shotgun, which I believe killed him. And I don't know I know they're waiting in jail right now, but I'm pretty sure that the father might get away with it because he warned the guy, he shot him, but those last two shots, in my opinion, were entirely unnecessarily and probably the ones that killed the guy. Now, keep in mind, this is all over a mattress. A dirty mattress that somebody put in a dumpster. Imagine there's a lot of ways to go, folks. There's a lot. This is why I tell you, man, when you get angry or you feel like you're going to get in an argument or hurt somebody, the best thing to do is walk away because anger has no limit. People think there's a shelf to it, but people have boundaries. And I promise you that this boy, he probably thought he was protecting his dad or something, but he could be charged with manslaughter at the very least, murder for sure, because that last shot, if you watch the clip, was pretty unnecessary. But I'm betting you because it's Texas, they'll probably both get away with it.
Yeah, they have the needed killing law. A friend of mine from Texas is always joking about that.
Yeah, Lily's right. Anger becomes blind rage. You know all about that, don't you, Eric?
No, I had a little episode of that tonight. I just strangled somebody if they'd have been in front of me. I just had to finally shut down. I bought that new computer for the show, and the power supply has died.
Did you get in a yelling match with them?
Money. Well, I finally, in all caps, said, what part of my power supply is not functioning? Don't you understand? How am I not articulating it clearly? I've got an electronics and electrical background. I have thoroughly tested this power supply, and it is deader than 4 o'clock, and I couldn't make a Z Khan there, or Saeed, whatever his name was. Now, the tech support guy understand that. I'm not even sure if it was a real tech supply guy. At the end of it, they're asking for my credit card and a billing address because they're going to have to pay for a new power supply.
Yeah, because they can't fix it.
Branch. Yeah, I'm not paying for an under warranty piece.
Well, I don't want to get you all riled up.
But I'm just saying, when you've got the anonymity of the internet between you and an adversary, it's easy for these things to escalate because, the chance of physical harm is, none. And I think they get purposely obtuse and
oh yeah, well,
it's got to be a boring job. I think they try and push buttons.
No. Well, I used to be a tech support. Before I did this, I was in tech support, and I can tell you what they assume is that you don't know what you're doing because they run into that a lot, and they over-assume sometimes, and that's probably what pissed you off. But here's the thing about this gun incident: like this incident shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have. It happened because two people had pride about something very stupid, and they wouldn't let it go. I mean, if you're the dad holding, they're both out there in their blue jeans, fatter than ever, with their shirts off, holding guns, thinking they're big stuff. Well, if you come near me, I mean, this guy was pretty big. If you come near me, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to kill you. And then he enticed the guy, right? Swing at me. Just take a swing at me. So that don't look good. You know, it's one thing to say, if you come near me, you know, I have the right to defend myself and then avoid the situation. But don't entice the guy because you want to kill him, because that's what it seemed like was going on there. And I've learned something down here in the South, too. Don't mess with old people that are tired and angry and they got guns. Now,
right.
This, to me, is going to be a lot of people, if they ain't talking about it already, are going to say, well, I told you, you know, they don't need their guns down there, yada, yada, yada. Well, let's look at another case. I don't know if you guys remember Joe Horn. Now, this this was in Texas, too. Different incident. Now, remember, in Texas, you also have the right to defend your neighbor. The laws changed, I believe, in 2015. You also have the right to defend your neighbor if something's happening on your neighbor's property. But it gets a little shaky now. I'm just progressing here. Hopefully this thing will skip through these whatever commercials. Let me find it here.
And nobody wins.
What's the address there, sir? 7418. Not my address, but next door. Okay. Yes, sir. 7418 what, sir? Timberline Drive. I've got a shotgun. Do you want me to stop them? Nope. Don't do that. Ain't no property worth shooting somebody over, okay? Well, they're breaking in right now. They're in their house. Mm-hmm. I'm watching them. What color is the house they're breaking into? It's kind of a red brick, right next to a two-story brick on my home. All right. What's the guys look like? White, black, Hispanics? They're black, two of them. Two black males? What are they wearing? One's kind of a green shirt and white tennis shoes and blue jeans, and both of them are in the house right now. What's the other one wearing, sir? I didn't get a look at the other one. What's your last name, sir? What is your phone number, please? This is my cell phone. And you're at what address, please? I'm at... They are next door. Do you know the number next door? I don't know if it's ascending or descending. But hurry up, man. Catch these guys, will you? Because I ain't going to let them go. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to let them go. I'm not going to let them get away with it. Okay, hold on. Now, if you're standing in front of my house, okay, looking at it from the street, you got that? Yes, sir. Okay.
I should have edited that out.
Right over there, okay? Don't hang up. I'm not hanging up, but I'm telling you right now, I don't like this kind of stuff, man. This is ridiculous. Yes, sir, it is. Broad daylight. I don't know if they're armed or not. I know they got a crowbar because that's what they broke in the windows with. Which window did they go through? The side, on the side where the gate is. I mean, you know, where the fence is, because nobody can see them. That would be the right-hand side, looking from the front. Man, this is scary. I can't believe this happened in this neighborhood. What? This is scary. I can't believe this would happen in this neighborhood. Can you see anything at all? No, I just see where they went in the house. I can't see in the house. I understand that, but you can see where they entered in? Yes. So they might slip out the same way, or can you see the front of the house? I can't see the front. I can go out the front, but if I go out the front, I'm bringing my shotgun with me, I swear to God. No. I'm not going to let them get away with it. I can't take a chance on getting killed over this, okay? No. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot. Stay inside the house and don't go out there, okay? I know you're pissed off, and I know what you're feeling, but it's not worth shooting someone over this, okay? I don't want to, but I mean, if I go out there, you know, to see what the hell's going on, I mean, what choice am I going to have? No, I don't want you to go out there. I asked if you could see anything out there, if you could see. I can see a little bit of the driveway, but see, I can't see the front. Can you see anything out in the front of the house that, like a vehicle that came in or anything? No.
All right. This guy sounds determined. I think he's ready. He's going to kill somebody already.
Let me know if you see anything at all from where you're at. Don't go outside, okay? Stay in the house. Still there? I'm here. All right. I'm going to tell you when I've got officers on the scene out there.
Not yet, you don't.
No, I know.
I can't see the front of the house. I can't tell if they stole something or getting away or not.
That's all right. Ain't nobody home that you know of, is there?
Well, over there, I would assume, I hope not.
Okay. I mean, you know your neighbors?
No, I really don't know these neighbors. I know the neighbors on the other side really well. I can assure you if it had been their house, I'd already done something. Because I know them really well, not, you know.
Mr.
Yes?
Why don't you listen to me carefully, okay?
Yes?
Got officers coming out there. I don't want you to go outside that house. And I don't want you to have that gun in your hand when those officers are poking around over there.
I understand that. Okay, but I have a right to protect myself too, sir, and you understand that.
Yes,
and the laws have been changed in this country, and it's in September the 1st, and you know it and I know it. I have a right to protect myself.
I'm right there.
And a shotgun is a legal weapon. It's not an illegal weapon.
No, it's not. I'm not saying that. I'm not wanting you to, you know, make
okay, he's coming out the window right now. I got to go, buddy. I'm sorry, but he's coming out the window.
Don't go out the door. Mr.
They just stole something. I'm going out the window. I'm sorry. I ain't letting them get away with it. They stole something. They got a bag of something. I'm doing it.
Mr. Do not
I'm
go
sorry.
outside the house.
This ain't right, buddy.
You're going to get yourself shot if you go outside that house with a gun.
You want to make a
what
bet?
Do you think? Okay, stay in the house.
There's no one getting away.
That's all right. Property's not worth killing someone over. Okay? Don't go out the house. Don't be shooting nobody. I know you're pissed and you're frustrated, but don't do it.
They got a bag of loot.
Okay. How big is the bag? They're carrying a bag of stuff. They're walking out about a hand up. Yeah. Which way are they going?
I can't. I'm going outside. I'll find out.
No, I don't want you going outside, mister.
Well, here it goes, buddy. You hear the shotgun clicking, and I'm going.
Don't go outside. Get on your regular.
No, you're dead.
911 Pascagoula.
Get the law over here quick, man. Get one of them's in the front yard over there. He's down. The other one's run down the street. I had no choice. They came in the front yard with me, man. I had no choice. Get somebody over here quick, man.
All right, Mr. Are you out there right now?
No, I am inside the house. I went back in the house, man. They come right in my yard. I didn't know what they was going to do. I shot them, okay?
Did you shoot somebody, Mr.
Yes, I did. The cops are here right now. I'm inside the house.
You're inside.
Now,
Put that gun down before you shoot an officer of mine. I've got several officers out there without uniforms on.
I am in the front yard right now.
Put that gun down. There's officers out there without uniforms on. Do not shoot anybody else. Do you understand me?
I understand.
I've got police officers out there that
I am right out in the front yard waving my hand right now.
You don't have a gun with you, do you?
No.
You see a uniformed officer? Okay, lay down on the ground and don't do nothing else.
No.
Lay down on the ground, mister. Do what the officers tell you to do right now.
Where's the gun? He said it's on. He said it's in the chair. That's what he said. All right, now that's not the last clip I'm going to play about this. Now this is a little bit different, okay? Because I know you people, some of you are like, you're anti-gun and stuff. This guy was home. He saw some people breaking into his neighbor's house, and he called the law. It's not like he broke the law. Immediately called the law, let him know somebody's breaking into my neighbor's house, just watching out for his neighbor. I don't even know them, but they're in there. You guys better hurry up and get here because what did he say? You remember Eric? He said, I'm not going to let him. First thing he said was, I'm not going to let him get away with it.
Right.
You remember? So
that cop was begging him to just stay out of it.
Yeah,
mind his own business.
Yeah. At that point, the cops ought to know that they're on a clock. If they don't get there, this guy's going to take care of it, he said they went in the window and stole something. And he said, no, here's a question. He said, no property is worth killing somebody over. I kind of agree with that. What do you think?
Well, that's one of the things they taught when I did my concealed weapon. That like if you saw the repo man out there about to take your car and pull a gun on him and shoot him, you're screwed. And I mean, a lot of people say, the hearsay is, oh, you can, if you see somebody stealing your car or whatever, jacking your car, you can shoot them. Unless your life is in danger. Somebody's doing a home evasion, coming into your house, threatening your life, you have no recourse.
Right.
You cannot legally kill somebody or shoot them because of property theft.
But he did. His name was Joe Horn. He went out there, and you hear him say it. He said, "You watch, buddy." Like, I think from the time he called this police officer, he had already had his mind made up. He's going to shoot somebody. That's my opinion. I
agree.
I've known dudes like this my whole life. He said, "I'm not going to let him get away with it." And he went outside, and you heard him. He cocked a shotgun, and he said, "And watch me." No matter what that guy said, he was going to do it. Mm-hmm. But then you heard him say, "You're dead." And I shot him. He said they came into his yard. Now, in this specific case, when the cops showed up, these guys, he shot these guys in the back. But he testified that they came at him, but he shot him in the back, which I guess they could come at him. When he pulls the gun up, they can turn around. He shoots him.
Well, the point, right, but at the point their back is turned.
Yeah, you ain't got to shoot him no more.
Yeah, you have no reason. You're not, it's your life is not in danger when somebody is running away from you.
Now, I know some of you gun control people think I'm making your case. No, I'm just talking about making sound judgments, right? Because what I'm trying to express is there's people out there that what I call trigger happy that I don't really think need a gun because they're not very responsible with it. This case is kind of in the middle. Maybe this guy felt threatened. Maybe he's older. I'm not so sure about it. The first one could have been avoided totally been avoided. All right. This one's kind of in the middle. If you're in Texas, you're going to be okay because that's what happened to this guy. The jury didn't convict him. They considered that, he was innocent. He did the right thing and he got away with it. It's one of the biggest cases, I think, in Texas that got a lot of media stir. Because he killed those two people. There was riots in the street. They had all kinds of press there. I believe the NAACP came out and got in a bunch of bikers' faces. It was crazy. I don't know if you guys remember it, but the guy's name was Joe Horn, and that's what happened. Now, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, for all of you people that say that we shouldn't have guns or whatever, I got something I'm going to play for you then, too. And then tell me what you think.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find us on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get $10 off your first box. As a special bonus, we'll include our #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. Whatever your diet plans are, start with us at faststartdiet.com.
Lighting the Void is proud to announce Mind and Magic's Protection and Defense Course for protection from magical and psychic attacks. This is not a joke. Magic practitioners are on the rise, and with that comes attacks from baneful or black magicians that try to harm or hurt others for their own selfish reasons. If you are not a believer in psychic attacks, then this isn't for you. If you are, and you want the power to defend yourself and your family and home, then I highly suggest you grab Freighter Xavier's Protection and Defense Course. In this course, you will learn how to tell if you are under attack from a supernatural source, or if an individual is attacking you. The 4 forms of curses and attacks. How to remove self-imposed curses. The correct way to cleanse your home from negativity or malevolent entities. How to make your own holy water. What you should always keep near or under your bed. Herbs that banish negativity and promote purity. The most powerful banishing rituals on the planet. And for those that seem to want to harm you the most, how to put your enemies in a hell pit of their own making. You can also learn protection against shadow people and other entities. Or are you just in a bad planetary alignment? Even how to get rid of an enemy using a tic-tac box. It does not matter what your faith or belief is, this will work. Click the banner on the website at lightingthevoid.com or go to lightingthevoid.com/Xavier.
The truth is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTOK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. I do want to let you guys know that the weekend of October the 6th, I will be at the Little Rock Paranormal Expo. You can go check that out, the Arkansas Paranormal Expo. We'll be doing a little live event from there. It will be fun. So if you're in the area, come hang out with me. Actually, I need all the help I can get. Help me set up and all that stuff. But that's the plan. The plan is that we're going out there and we're going to talk to those folks again. Lovely folks. So if you're local, come hang out with me. We're in the third hour here. We just got through interviewing Calvin Parker about the Pascagoula alien abduction, talking about his book. And we are here with Eric Markham, who is my partner in crime on the Fringe FM, as well as co-producer of this show. And we've been talking about this gun incident that happened at the beginning of September. Somebody asked me what I thought about it in Facebook, so I figured I would talk about it tonight. Now, we played a clip of what happened. The first clip, I'm not going to play it again, but I think it could have been avoided. I think it's just going to give the gun control people an argument. Some people agree that the guys did the right thing, though, actually. The second clip, it was a famous clip, the Joe Horn incident in Texas. And the only time that I would have not probably used a gun in both of those incidents. I wouldn't shoot anybody over something like that. But it does bother me, honestly, that there are people out there that are just, it's almost like they want to shoot somebody. You know what I mean, Eric?
Yeah, that's something you can't take back. That's like cheating on your wife, or I don't know. It's like when you do break any of the 10 Commandments. That's something that scars, even if you get away with it as far as human law is concerned. That's a stain on the soul. I mean, that's just not something you casually do. I mean, that I say if somebody broke into my house, yeah, I'd shoot them, but I wouldn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
It's not, some of the voices on, like that guy, that second clip you played, the way he was telling where his address was, you're right. It was almost like, I don't know, was he trying to establish an alibi or something? It sounded like he knew.
Yeah, he had it all planned out. Before he was going to do it. You nailed it, man. That's what I was trying to get at. This guy had it all planned out. He knew exactly what he was going to do. I guarantee you that guy saw them people breaking in, thought about it for a minute, said, I'm going to shoot these guys, but let me make sure that I cover all of my angles first. I'm going to call the law. I'm going to tell them what's going on. Then I'm going to tell them why I'm going to shoot them. And then I'm going to shoot them. You know what I mean? Because there was that guy. He wasn't even, the guy on the phone was trying to talk sense into him and he wasn't having it. I'm going to go out there. You heard that shotgun click. Yeah. People like that bother me. They just do. They bother me. They're the reason why we have all this back and forth with gun laws, because they're not responsible. They want to hurt somebody. I understand you're mad that people rob your neighborhood and it's never happened before, but, man, killing somebody, whatever, that's not going to help your case anymore, and it really didn't help your case anymore. maybe it'll keep people from going through your neighborhood. I don't know. That could be talked about. But this next clip I'm going to play is one of the reasons why I don't agree with gun control the way certain people want to just get rid of guns. Just get rid of them, you know, and I don't believe in that either. Now, I call this, if you don't think this is justice or justified, then I don't know what to tell you. But just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, this is going to scare you a little bit, probably, especially if you're female. But here you go.
They tried my front door, my side door, and now they're trying to break in my back door.
Okay, stay on the line with me. I've already got office started. Do not hang up, okay?
All right, I have a gun in my hand. I'm terrified.
Okay. I've got officers already on the way. I'm going to keep you on the phone until the officers get there, okay? You said that they're trying the back gate now?
I think they're in the back now.
Okay, so first the front
Somebody's in the back and on my porch.
Someone's on your porch?
Please hurry, please.
Ma'am, they're coming out there as fast as they can. Can you see anybody? I'm not asking you to look, but did you see anyone? Like, are there any open windows?
Somebody's banging on my Arcadia door.
Okay, are you expecting anybody?
No.
Okay.
There's no vehicles out front of my driveway. No, somebody's walking out on my back porch.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to keep you on the phone until the officers get there, okay? Do not hang up. Yeah, I've got a lot of officers coming out there.
It just broken.
It just broke?
Yeah, they broke my Arcadia door.
Okay, yeah, I've got them coming out there. They're coming out as fast as they can. Have you heard any voices?
No, they're coming in right now, though.
Okay, tell me if you see them. Tell me what they look like, how many of them are, whether they're men, women.
I just saw one.
Just saw one? Okay, did you see a person, or did you see, like, the shadow of a person?
I've seen green hoodie. They're coming in right now, please, please, please.
Yeah, they're coming out as fast as they can. I promise you, they're coming out there as fast as they can. I've got a lot of officers responding. And as everything you're telling me, I'm typing, and the dispatcher's giving it to them immediately. They're getting all this information.
They're breaking out my window.
Are you in your bedroom, or?
I'm in my bathroom.
Okay, yeah, they're coming out as fast as they can. I've got a lot of officers responding. Is there an alley behind your house?
Yes.
You back up to the canal, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you don't need to answer anything. I'm going to stay on the line with you, okay?
What was that? What was that? What was that?
What happened?
What did you do? If you're going to use a beat, you have to shit that. Sorry. What are you coming right out for? Oh, no. I shot him.
You shot him?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I've got everybody coming out for help, okay?
Please hurry. Don't get up, I'll shoot your ass again.
Okay, where did you shoot him? Ma'am, where did you shoot him at?
In my house, he's in my bathroom.
No, where in his body? Where in his body did you shoot him?
What?
Where in his body?
He's laying half in my bathroom and half in the hallway. Where in the body?
No, yeah, like, did you hit him?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay, do you recognize him? Is he somebody?
No, I don't recognize him.
Okay, so he came into the bathroom where you were?
I'm in the front bathroom.
Okay.
I said don't move.
What is he saying?
He said he thought the house was abandoned.
Yeah.
Abandoned house with a car and locked gates and, yeah. He said before you knocked, you banged, you tried to get indoors. I heard you out there. Because why should I unlock the door? When you're rattling and beating on everything and trying to climb my fence. I'm not even going to talk to you.
Yeah, there's no need to. The officers give me their few. I've got just about every officer on that part of town is responding out there, okay?
Please get somebody here.
Yeah, they're coming out as fast as they can. Are you hurt at all?
I don't know. My face is bleeding. I'm bleeding from some places. I don't know where else. I don't know. He was beating on me.
He was hitting you?
He was beating on me when he found out I was in here. So I dropped the phone and I almost dropped the gun. I ended up shooting.
Okay. Okay, I've got them all coming out as fast as they can. They're arriving in the area now. Okay.
Yeah.
When you hear them at the door, you're gonna have to.
I'm not gonna walk off the top of the sky.
No. I'm not gonna want you to leave the bathroom. Yeah, I'm gonna have them come to you, but you're gonna need to put the gun down, not near you.
I will.
Okay.
I'm
gonna wait till you see the officers before I disconnect, okay? I'm showing they are there. They should be coming inside.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Come on back. I put the gun down.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go now. Okay. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
And you heard her have a mental breakdown right there at the end because it all just hit her that really happened. I don't even have to ask you if that was justified. But let's just pretend for a second that you're living in a country that doesn't allow you to defend yourself in your home with a weapon. And this guy, not only did this guy break in, found her in her bathroom. She was hiding in the bathroom. Went straight to the bathroom and tried to attack her. You didn't hear the gunshot because of the echo was so loud in the bathroom, it canceled itself out. But did you hear what he said, Eric? He goes, what was that? That's a bullet, you dumbass.
Yeah. Well, he's lucky that it wasn't me because
you'd have finished the job, huh?
Well, you don't just shoot once. And I have a feeling if I was backed into a corner like that, I'd empty the clip.
So my whole point is like this whole polarity of this gun issue thing. You know, we get hosts. There'll be hosts that'll just try to stir up try to get everybody battling back and forth about it because that's the fun. The truth is that there are dummies that don't need weapons. That's a fact. They can't make good decisions. There's people out there that want to shoot folks. Just give them a reason and they will. And then there's people like this lady that I don't want to think about what would have happened to her if she didn't have that weapon. What could have happened to her?
Yeah, because you can tell by the time the cops got there, the length of time it took between him breaking in and the police arriving on scene, he could have done, there's no amount of harm. No way of telling how much harm he could have done to her.
And she was responsible about it. She didn't want to hurt nobody. That's not what she was, she's like telling, say, hurry, please get here, hurry. Because she just didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want to deal with this guy. She didn't want to shoot nobody. She just didn't want it to happen. And then when she shot the guy's moving around again. Some people would have just shot him again. And she's like, don't move or I'll shoot you again. Those people deserve to have a weapon. They deserve to be able to defend themselves. They have a brain, I just think we need to figure out how to find out if there's a way to make it happen in this country that people like that can get a weapon, and the other people that really don't need one don't get one. That's the issue. That's the issue the government's trying to figure out. It's not what you see on TV about this big battle going back and forth because people are senselessly killed all the time. But in this country, you can't take away somebody's right to defend themselves. So it's not an easy issue. I don't know how they would fix it, to be honest with you. But the two dudes at the dumpster probably don't need to have a weapon anymore, if you ask me. Maybe the old man, but that guy was telling him, swing at me. get in my face. Like, he wanted to shoot him, and he didn't have to. That's what I believe, anyways.
You don't provoke somebody. One thing, that whole mattress thing should never. If it was that serious a problem, they should have called the law. Yeah. I mean, the law was never called until after after it was too late. You know, if this guy is doing illegal dumping, that is a crime, and the police would handle it.
It's not worth shooting somebody over. Not to mention, this guy is, you know, huge and fat, and he's out there holding a gun. And this other dude is the reason why this big tall guy was so pissed off is because he's got some crazy squidbilly coming out with a gun when his kids are there. That's why the dude that got killed was so angry, but instead of walking away and taking his kids and leaving, he got real prideful about it because the woman's over there running her mouth, agging it on, you know. You ain't going to shoot my husband. What a dumb thing to say to somebody that's already full of pride to begin with, you know?
Yeah, that should have been, you know, that should have been everybody, or, you know, the guy that got shot should have gathered up his family, got in the house, called the police. Because at that point, the dude aiming the gun is guilty of assault with a deadly weapon. You don't have to shoot somebody. You have to, all you got to do to be accused, you know, to get charged with assault is aim it at somebody. Yep. That's assault. That's assault with a deadly weapon. And I believe that's a felony. That's not a misdemeanor. At that point, should have said, hey, you know, I'm trying to get rid of this mattress. My neighbor threatened to kill me, blah, blah, blah. The police would have come and investigated. You know,
but you have a brain, Eric. That's the point. Well, you have a brain. Look, I've heard you get super pissed before, but you've got a brain. To me, you deserve to carry a weapon. You deserve to be able to have one to defend yourself. And I'm not saying dumb people in their homes don't deserve to have one either, but there should be some kind of limit, like stupid limit. Like, okay, you're a level 6 stupid, so you don't get to take it outside the house. You know?
Exactly. Well, I think that's all they need to do is, now I know with my temper, I took the concealed weapon course. 2 days before I was going to turn in my certificate to get my license to carry, I got cut off in traffic by some bimbo on her cell phone, texting and whatever. She wasn't paying attention, almost wiped me and my motorcycle out.
Ooh.
I knew in my heart when that situation happened, I would have done something stupid if I'd been carrying a gun.
You was going to shoot
I did not. Because you couldn't have slipped a piece of paper between my fender on my, I was on my motorcycle.
Yeah, but
you couldn't have slipped a piece of paper between. It almost wiped me out in heavy traffic. If that had, it would have. If I hadn't gotten killed, I'd have been laid up pretty bad. And I was just furious that people talking on cell phones and doing stupid stuff in traffic.
Well, that's as dangerous as having a gun.
Yeah, that's just that's a pet peeve of mine. And I was so angry that I probably would have, if I hadn't shot her, I'd have shot the car. And, I just realized at that moment, my guns need to stay in the house for home defense or on the range to practice. I don't have the temperament to go around carrying a loaded weapon.
You got a temper issue, right? So you know better. You've got logic.
But I know that I have a temper, so I'm not going to carry out in public.
Dennis says in Canada,
I have one in the car.
We don't understand. What is it? Oh, in Canada, we just do not understand where some Americans get this idea of the government is coming for their guns. Well, that's a conservative idea. And look, I'm not going to get apolitical, but when people get polar, they can't see the whole truth, right? The government has never, and as far as I'm concerned, and I've looked at a lot of these voting ballots and stuff, they've never tried to come get your guns or pry them out of your cold, dead hands or anything. They've never done that. What they've tried to do is regulate how the weapons get handed out. But what you hear in the media is they're coming for your gun, Susie. You know, that's not what happened. On the other hand, this country works on checks and balances. So like that's not to say if you let the left just go and go and go that they wouldn't eventually take your weapons away. But checks and balances are what this country's about. The media turns it into a big fight for votes. See, the politicians don't care about your guns, whether you have them or not. What they care about is what your belief is about the issue. They could care less if you die, if you pull the trigger, if you can defend yourself. They don't care. They just want to know, how do you feel about the subject, or how they can further polarize you on the subject so they can get your vote. Now, I'm not saying all politicians are bad, because if that was the case, there would be one or the other for sure. But what I'm saying is the truth is, people have the right to defend themselves in their own home. This woman did. I believe my stance on this, if anybody even cares, somebody asked, so I'm telling you, and I'm sure Eric said what he thinks about it too, is that first incident didn't need to happen. Maybe the old man, yeah, sure, he had a right to defend himself, but I believe he wanted to shoot the guy to begin with. And his son probably should be locked up for murder, because he didn't need to shoot the guy twice with a shotgun after he already been shot a couple times with a pistol. And that's what we're dealing with. While everybody else is ascending, we've got humans doing this stuff. So I don't know if I believe in this whole ascending thing yet. Are you ascending, Eric?
No, I'm pretty much stagnant.
But tomorrow night, we're going to talk to, who do we got for tomorrow night, Eric? We're going to be talking UK beasts, right?
Yes.
Cryptids.
Yes, this guy's written so more or less the definitive book on UK, like the big cats, and they have their fair share of weird.
Andrew McGrath is who's going to be on tomorrow night.
Right, he's pretty cool. I think I do have. Can I let it out of the bag who I got for October 1st, or you want me to wait?
No, go ahead. That's fine. Go ahead.
For the first hour of October 1st, I've got Nick Pope.
Nick Pope's going to be on, and then Bill Burns is going to be on the second hour. He just told us he would be there, too. So that's going to be a cool show.
Okay, I hadn't checked because we'll see.
And then Thursday night, we got the Ghostbuster Gals. So I've always wanted to talk to them. That's going to be a cool show. It's perfect. So the Halloween stuff, we got to talk Ghostbuster Gals, and they talk more than just ghosts. And they're really cool people. I'm sure you remember them, like when their first interview happened on Art Bell. That was one of really big. And I actually asked them to come on the show because of listener feedback. So if in the Discord chat room, I've got a hashtag guests in there, and if you put a guest in there and you want me to talk to, there's a 100% chance, I'd say a 99.9% chance I'm going to ask them to come on the show. And if they don't, I'll tell you what they said. I mean, it's not always sunshine and roses. We've even had people say that we had to pay them to come on, and we're not doing that. But we do have to get out of here. This show was produced by the Fringe FM and cannot be rebroadcasted without written syndication. Intro music was by Chronux. Guitar Man by Bundy. And the rest of the music was Kevin MacLeod, Space Station, and Cassiopeia. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Had fun. Good night.